Let's get it, 580 Sports Talk on a Thursday afternoon in the capital city. Great to be with you for the next 3 hours on the sports voice of Kansas. 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and streaming live on video on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our Facebook page, WIBW News. However you stumbled across us on this Thursday, welcome in. We're glad you're along for the ride. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski starting the show with you today. 3 hours of 580 Sports Talk. No Royals tonight. The Royals don't play for another Thursday the rest of the month. They played last Thursday. That was their last Thursday game of the month of May. So no game today. No game for the next 2 Thursdays. And the Royals will return home for a big weekend series against the Cardinals. And they'll return home now all of a sudden after that red hot stretch. The Royals have now dropped 4 out of 5 after last night's 4-3 loss to the Houston Astros. We're going to get into that, why a game on Wednesday was lost on Monday. We'll explain what I mean by that. We'll also look at the 2 unwelcome offensive trends. One has been season-long, and I guess both of them, in a way, have been season-long trends. But right now, the Royals can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position, and Salvador Perez can't buy a hit anytime. And both of those things are big, big problems for the boys in blue. Playing some good ball, obviously, overall, but needing to keep pace because the Twins have already won today. That's 11 in a row for them. The Tigers won again. They won the bad Scooble start. That's how you know a team is really going well, when their ace lays an egg and they win anyway. That's what happened for the Tigers last night, so they're still hot. Cleveland lost yesterday, but they play good ball of late. Royals are needing to keep a little pace here in May, and that gets harder to do when you lose like you did last night. Really, the last 2 nights, a couple of late-inning losses. The bullpen has been so strong all season, buckling a little bit.
The flip side, too, of that, like if you're the Tigers and Scooble goes out there and sucks it up and you still win, you feel like, oh, yeah, we can do anything. The flip side is if you're the Red Sox, you got to feel like, you're falling off a cliff at this point. Like, God dang, we're under 500 now. We can't, guys are getting hurt all over the place. We finally get a break and we can't even beat this guy. That's got to be pretty,
Oh, yeah, nothing more frustrating. You get to a team's ace and you don't get the win at the end of the day. So we'll talk some Royals baseball a little bit later on in the program. But before we talk about an actual sporting event that was contested, we're going to talk about 17 sporting events coming up in the fall that we now know the dates and times and TV networks for. Yes, it was schedule release day yesterday across the National Football League, and we now know the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs schedule. We'll talk about it from top to bottom, the toughest parts of the schedule, the most favorable segments of the schedule, what we like about the schedule, what we don't like about the schedule. Did the Chiefs social team do a good job with the online schedule reveal? What were the other good schedule reveal videos across social media? What else stands out about the 2025 NFL schedule now that we know it all, every single game, all 18 weeks of the regular season? We'll have plenty to say about that as we go along today.
I don't know about you. My schedule release party popping off last night. The house was full.
Did you go party sub or pizzas for everybody?
We went with the sandwich tray.
Yeah.
All sandwiches all over. Had like 8 veggie trays.
I don't hate the tray, but I really prefer the long party sub.
Yeah,
I like the scope of like the 6-foot long party sub that you have to cut into, and like just it's more impressive to me than the pile of sandwiches on the tray. That's just a visual thing for me.
No, I get that. It's like, how did you make a sandwich this big? Where did you get an oven of this size? I get that.
Yeah. So I'm glad you had a successful party.
Oh, yeah.
I
found out who the Falcons are playing week 8. Oh, brother.
Yeah, there was
moment of the night.
Huge applause when we discovered who the Chargers were going to play in week 3. No, I didn't see my own, like, I didn't see the Seahawks schedule until this morning. Like, I Didn't even see it until this morning. So that's kind of where I'm at on the schedule release. But
I watched a few of the social media videos.
Uh-huh.
Didn't actually register who they're playing. I was watching for the jokes. Like,
yeah,
the Falcons one I thought was really good. It was Mario Kart themed. I have no idea who they're playing.
Yeah, right.
No clue.
Right. Yeah, there were some that were like that. There were some that didn't even bother putting up the schedule on the screen at the end.
Yeah.
Of it. Like,
the Packers one was like an LSD trip, and I had no idea. I don't know if they mentioned more than a handful of teams, and like, hey, you guys are playing 17 opponents.
There were a couple that really struck a particular chord with me and things that I remember from growing up. We'll talk about this in greater detail later on. But the Seahawks one was in the style of a like Saturday morning cartoon commercial for action figures.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was really well done. And Spencer's Commanders went with a roller coaster tycoon themed video.
Yeah, it's sick.
I loved that game.
Me too.
I really loved roller coaster tycoon. That was a lot of fun to play when I was a kid. So anyhow, we'll get into that. Lots of NFL schedule stuff to get to on today's program. We'll have some fun with it. We'll also talk some local sports with the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. Pistol will join us bottom of this hour. We'll get his thoughts on the local sports spotlight as we are into postseason play in high school sports. We are rounding the turn towards the final stretch of Washburn athletics. We will talk about all of that with Pistol coming up at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour here. Plus, everything you've come to know and love from a Thursday edition of the show. We've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a playoff roundup, another round of What Is Wrong With You in the 4 o'clock hour. We'll play either or over under in just a little bit as well. We also want to hear from you throughout the show today. You can text us. The text line is open, 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us if you are watching the YouTube stream, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Subscribe today. Picked up another one yesterday. So jump on in, subscribe today to the YouTube channel if you have not yet, and interact with our fellow listeners and with yourselves, amongst yourselves, as we go along these 3 hours. A good afternoon to Christopher and everybody else watching and who will be watching on the YouTube as we go along today. And be listening on the show. One last thing to promote. I've got another pair of tickets for Alabama featuring Lee Greenwood. Not Lee Greenwood performing with Alabama. Lee Greenwood is the opening act for Alabama, is I believe how this is working. But May 23rd out of the Shure Amphitheater in Bonner Springs. We've got another pair of tickets. We've given a couple away this week. Got a couple more to give away. So we're going to give away a pair today. So be listening for your cue to call if you want to go see Alabama perform. I presume they would play mountain music. I'm not really up on their catalog, but I would presume you would hear mountain music.
Mountain music, Song of the South, Dixieland Delight.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Dixieland Delight. Yeah.
I think the crowd in Kansas will do the the Alabama fan parts of it.
Probably not.
The Roll Tide parts.
Probably not. I don't know.
All night long.
I don't know if those are as well known outside of Bryant-Denny Stadium as they are inside on a game night on a Saturday. But it is one of the great traditions of SEC and by extension college football.
And Tennessee too.
Yep. If you know, you know. Anyway, so be listening. We'll give away a pair of tickets for the Alabama concert coming up May 23rd in Bonner Springs. That's coming up on the show as well. All right. Kansas City Chiefs schedule is out. We'll run it down. We already knew half of it, and there was conflicting reporting on a portion of the middle of it where turns out our guy Nate Taylor got some wrong info, which, hey, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Lord knows it's happened to me before.
Yes, he was half right with the little morsels that he fed us. So the Chiefs schedule, we'll just run it down game 1 through game 17 first, and then we'll have some thoughts on it. In case you have somehow missed it, this is what it looks like. Week 1, Friday night in Brazil against the Chargers. That game will be on YouTube exclusively. You won't have to be a subscriber to anything. You will just need an internet connection and the ability to punch up YouTube, which if you're watching our show on YouTube, you already have. You're already set. You don't need to subscribe to anything. You don't need to do, YouTube without ads. They're not going to ask you for any money. They're just going to put the game on YouTube. And you can watch it on your phone. You watch it on your tablet. You can watch it on your computer. Watch it on your Fire Stick or whatever it is you got. That's the opener Friday night in Brazil against the Chargers. Week 2, home opener against the Eagles. That's a Sunday afternoon game. It is, for now, the only Fox game on the schedule for the Chiefs. It's the only time they will appear on the Fox network this coming season will be their game against the Eagles week 2.
So you will be getting Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt.
Yes.
As if that was up for debate.
Yeah.
You will be getting the A crew on Fox.
That is correct. Week 3, it's the first Sunday night football game of the season for the Chiefs. They'll be at the Giants week 3, September 21st. Obviously, Sunday Night Football's on NBC. Back home for another monster clash, week 4, with the Baltimore Ravens coming to town. That'll be in the 3:25 slot on CBS. Monday Night Football, week 5, on the road in Jacksonville. The Jaguars hosting the Chiefs for Monday Night Football on October 6th, week 5. That, of course, on ESPN. Then it's more primetime football for the Chiefs, week 6, back at Arrowhead, at home against the Detroit Lions for week 6, Sunday Night Football on NBC. That kickstarts a run of 3 straight home games, weeks 6, 7, and 8.
You don't see that a lot in the NFL.
You really don't. Like the 3-game homestand and the 3-game road trip. Only but a handful of teams, and not even a handful really, get scheduled those in a season. And the Chiefs are one of the lucky ones who drew a 3-game homestand this year. 3 straight home games. Week 7, the Raiders come calling. That is a noon kickoff on CBS. The first time the Pete Carroll-led Raiders come to Arrowhead. Then week 8, it is once again at Arrowhead. Once again, it is Monday Night Football. So if you are keeping track, that is 4 of the first 8 games for the Chiefs, primetime games. Chiefs Commanders in the Spencer Dupuis Bowl, Monday night, October 27th. That game on ESPN. Then week 9, it's the big trip to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Late game, CBS, before the week 10 bye. On the other side of the bye, week 11, first trip to Denver and the Broncos. That's a Sunday afternoon. It will be in the CBS late window. Week 12, home game. Colts come to town. Noon kick at Arrowhead Stadium. Another one on CBS. Then it's the short turnaround to Thanksgiving. Week 13, Thanksgiving afternoon football in Dallas against the Cowboys. CBS will have the broadcast of the Cowboy game this year. The networks flip-flop the Lions and the Cowboys rights. So this year it will be CBS with the Cowboys game, and the Chiefs will be the opponent. Week 14, December 7th, back on a Sunday night with the Houston Texans coming to Arrowhead Stadium, the 3rd scheduled Sunday night football game of the year on NBC in week 14. Then back-to-back noon kickoffs. I said we'd get 3. It's 4 scheduled noon kicks for the Chiefs. How about that? The Chargers, I was right about that. The AFC West teams coming back to Kansas City, 2 of the 3 got noon kickoffs. The Chargers are the week 15 opponent at Arrowhead, Sunday, December 14th, noon kick, CBS. Week 16 at Tennessee, taking on the Titans. That's another noon kickoff, December 21st. Another short turnaround, that Sunday, Thursday turnaround for the Christmas night game, December 25th. That's week 17, Chiefs hosting the Broncos on Amazon Prime. And then week 18, either Saturday or Sunday, it'll be Chiefs at Raiders with a kickoff time to be determined, more than likely, unless it gets the Saturday time slot, which the NFL's done to the Chiefs before. It'll probably be a late afternoon kick on Sunday. So there it is. That's the schedule. And the first thing that jumped out to me, and I think it was the first thing that jumped out to you as well, Brendan, the big games are early. Like the marquee, circle them in red when you see the listed opponents' games, setting aside the divisional games, because obviously those are big every year. But if you would have circled games in red for the Chiefs this year, real litmus test, contender versus contender games, you'd have said Eagles, Ravens, Bills, Lions. Those are the big 4 games, and all of those are before the bye. 3 of them are at home. We already knew that. But 4 of those games, all of those big games coming before the week 10 bye. Is that an advantage or not?
I would say it's a slight advantage because, I mean, in theory, you're going to be better at the end of the year than you are at the beginning of the year. That being said, you will also likely be more injured at the end of the year than you are at the beginning of the year, at least hopefully, given what this schedule looks like. It works out really well that the Chiefs have that bye in week 10, that you can really use those really difficult games early as an evaluation period. Now, it's not like college football where, we did lose a non-conference game, but we still have a chance to win the conference title. division crowns don't really mean a whole lot except you get a home playoff game in the NFL. And I don't really think the Chiefs have much doubt that they're going to win the AFC West again this year. So with that in mind, every game matters. But if you go through those first 9 games and you're like 6-3 as opposed to 8-1 or even 7-2, all right, you've got to bye in the middle of the season, winnable games down the back stretch. You're probably putting yourself in a pretty good position again to win the division, get a pretty high seed come playoff time. Now, things can change, obviously. Maybe Bo Nix does take a huge step forward. And those 2 games against the Broncos in the back half of the schedule, that goes from, yeah, they're probably the second best team in the division to, oh, wait, no, they're good. Like, those are actually big games. Maybe Houston, despite the fact that they added, we'll talk about their offensive line at some other point. I think it might be worse in 2025 than it was in 24. But maybe the fact that they got a new coach on their offensive line fixes everything. Stroud looks like an MVP. All of a sudden, that game in week 14 means a lot. Maybe Brian Schottenheimer is actually not garbage and actually can be a head coach. I doubt it, but maybe that ends up working out and that Cowboy game ends up being huge. So things can change. But on paper, I kind of like having these difficult games early. This happened, I believe it was 2 seasons ago. Do you remember that when they opened, they had all those really difficult games early on? If I remember, they had a lot of really tough games in like the first 6 weeks. And then in the back half, on paper anyway, things looked a little bit easier. The Raiders on Christmas. Clearly that didn't work out. But, again, it's on paper. It's just the schedule release day. So I think it's probably a little bit better to have them early than late. And again, maybe late if you're up 3 games in the division going into the Titans, Broncos, Raiders final 3 weeks of the year. Maybe that means you don't have to play Travis Kelce a whole lot. Maybe that means that, hey, we're going to see some fourth quarter Minshew in some of those games. We're not going to have to use up a lot of Isaiah Pacheco's tread on his tires because he's gotten hurt every year of his career. We don't have to play him a lot late in the season, keep him fresh for the playoffs. That might be the biggest asset, having a lot of those probably more meaningful games early on.
I like having those big games early because it makes it less likely that those teams have been impacted by significant injury. And we get to see fresh, even if they are early in the season, you might not be the best version of yourself. You'll probably be the healthiest that you're going to be at any point early in the season. So you get that opportunity to kind of measure yourself. And the Chiefs will know going into the bye. They'll be 9 games in. They'll have 8 more to play. It's a nice, clean midway point of the season. They will know exactly what they are 9 games in. They will have a very good sense of the kind of team that they actually are and the kind of team they're going to have to be in the second half of the season and beyond if they want to accomplish their ultimate goal of getting the Lombardi trophy back. So I like having those big games early on. Like the back end of the schedule, like you said, the Texans, probably the sternest opponent. I shouldn't write off the Broncos entirely. Like you said, they were a playoff team last year. I liked some of their offseason business. I didn't love their draft, but I thought they did well in free agency. There's certainly a chance that the Broncos are better in year 2 of the Bo Nix era. And if they're better, then they're going to be a real threat potentially to Kansas City's hegemony at the top of the AFC West. So those will be big games. And even if they aren't, like even if Denver isn't any better than they were last year, who's played the Chiefs tougher than the Broncos over the last 2 seasons?
Lou Anarumo.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, they see him week 12.
That's true.
So, yeah, maybe he's the answer to the question. What's the toughest matchup for the Chiefs second half of the season? But, yeah, the Texans being at home, that's the other part of the schedule. Like, you look at the real hard games for the Chiefs, and this isn't new information, but it's a lot more apparent when you lay out the schedule game by game. The hard ones are at home. Other than Buffalo, all the teams you'd want to play and have home field against and feel like, man, this could be a hard game, but I'd sure love to play it at Arrowhead. You get to play it at Arrowhead. You get the Eagles at home. You get the Ravens at home. You get the Lions at home. You get the Commanders at home. You get the Texans at home. You get Lou Anarumo and the Colts at home. So I really like how the schedule shakes out. Also, there's only 7 true road games, and make the jokes, and there's a hint of truth to all of them about how much of a road game it really is playing at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. But that's not a true road game. You're not playing at the other team's stadium. You're going to, are they playing at the Maracana, or what stadium are they playing at?
Corinthians.
Okay, they're playing at the Corinthians Stadium.
Yeah.
Not the Maracana, but
no, you're Corinthians.
Either way, it's not the home of the Chargers. So you're really playing 7 true road games with 9 home games. All of the toughest games are at home. I like how that fell for the Chiefs. I think it feels pretty favorable.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't make the Chiefs. And I don't know if maybe the Chargers have a Brazil, they're part of the, the Brazil exclusive rights, arrangement or whatever. I'm a little surprised the Chiefs didn't end up being the designated home team for that game, though, because it's really favorable to have 9 true home games and only 7 true road games. And like, the only way to get a truly neutral crowd in the NFL is to have an international game, because you're going to see some Chiefs fans. You're going to see some Charger fans. You might get a higher percentage of Charger fans from Brazil than you would have in Los Angeles, honestly. But there's going to be dudes in Vikings uniforms. There's going to be guys dressed head to toe in like Seahawks gear. That's how these international games always go. I remember that very vividly last year from the Packers-Eagles Brazil game. So it to me, in terms of when you're playing home, when you're playing away, how many home and away, it ends up, I think, looking very favorable. The only real negative, I suppose, in that regard, final 3 weeks of the year, at Titans, home for Broncos, at Raiders, 2 of your last 3 are on the road. I think the Titans might be pretty bad. Even if Cam Ward looks like, hey, this was a good pick, he's going to be the guy, they're still probably a year away roster-wise. Like their roster just stinks.
Yeah.
And that's not Cam Ward's fault. And let's also be honest, Nashville's not exactly the hardest place to play in the world. You want to talk about an event city where you're going to get neutral fans. Broncos at home, like you mentioned, that's the Christmas game, but you're at home. That'll be nice. And then Raiders on the road, you're going to have plenty of your own fans there. And frankly, if they're already won the division, we know they're not going to need to play anyone anyway. They're going to pack that one up and not care about it. So even the one thing that looks like, oh man, that's a bummer, is really not that bad.
Yeah, I think this is a favorable schedule for the Chiefs. I think they're in good shape. JB in the YouTube comments says, I agree, Dan. I said after the Buffalo game, if Kansas City is 5-4 or better, they will be fine. I think 6-3 is reasonable, given that all those games are at home. I think 6-3, even 7-2. Like, if the Chiefs are really going to be Super Bowl contenders, that should still be a stretch of the schedule to go 7-2 against. But yeah, even if you are 5-4 and you've lost a couple of one-score games, gives you an opportunity to tighten up the things that are wrong. And you've figured out where you're weak and what needs to change with enough runway and effectively the second half of the season to make those tweaks. And you trust the coaching staff and these veteran players to be able to make whatever tweaks are necessary. We'll talk a little bit more about the Chiefs' schedule later on. We'll take a look at what might be the toughest portions of the schedule. Talk about the fact that there are a lot of teams with multiple Sunday, Thursday turnarounds on the schedules, not just the Chiefs. But only one team is getting the short turnaround on Christmas, which is kind of wild to me. So we'll talk about that. We'll cover it from the rest of the NFL standpoint as well. Take a look at the international games, the primetime games, and so on. Plenty more football to get to on today's show. We're also going to get into the Royals, their loss last night in Houston. Rick Peterson is going to join us in just a little bit for the local sports spotlight. But first, we've got either or over under coming back after this break as you're listening to 580 Sports Talk. Either or over under on 580 Sports Talk. All right, the Vegas total for the Kansas City Chiefs, at least going into yesterday, I haven't seen if it's moved or not, but the Vegas total was 11.5 wins. So we know the schedule, over under 11.5 wins for the Chiefs.
Over. Yeah, I have no problem going with the over there. I think they win a lot on the back half of the schedule. Again, things can't change. Teams get better. Teams get worse, whatever. I think they can, in the final, 8 weeks of the year, I wouldn't be surprised to see 7-1 right there. That means first 9 games, you need to win five of them. You got to go 5-4. Oh, yeah. They'll go 5-4. There's some tough teams there, but they'll go 5-4. Without question.
I have a hard time imagining a Patrick Mahomes-led team not winning 12 games. They've only ever won fewer than that once. So, yeah, I would take the over without thinking too hard about it.
Like in that first 9, I'll do the win-loss thing right now. Chargers win. I'll even say Eagles loss, 1-1. Giants win. Ravens win. That's 3-1. Jags win. That's 4. They'll get 1 at least of Lions Commanders. That's 5-2 right there. They'll beat the Raiders, I think, and noon home kickoff, and then Bills, even if that's a toss-up. Okay, boom, you're 6-3 right there. So I think they go over.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're Vegas, you have to go 12.5. You have to dare bettors to go higher, right?
I would think so. I bet that number moves at some point. I guess from the Vegas perspective, you're trying to get people thinking, well, wait a minute, this feels low. But gosh, they did have a lot of luck in close games last year. What if they were closer to being an 11-win team last year than a real 15-win team? Did they get any better in the offseason? They want you to have that seed of doubt with all those close, nail-biting games where the Chiefs seem to get the bounce every single time last year, which is fair, to be honest. Like, if that's the case you want to build against the Chiefs, that's a fair place to start.
My either or over under, a little preview of what we'll get to at the end of headlines today in our playoff roundup. I want to go to the association real quick. We know 2 of the teams that are going to play in their respective conference finals, the Pacers in the East and the Timberwolves in the West. Thunder and Nuggets, they play tonight at 7:30. Meanwhile, the Knicks and Celtics play tomorrow at 7, game 6 in each of those series. So I'm going to ask you to prognosticate here, both in the East and in the West, over under 6.5 games in their respective series in the conference finals.
In the conference finals?
Yep.
6.5.
Yep.
I'm going to go... Man, I'll go under because that feels the smart money, right? Like 4, 5, 6
sure
on one side and then 7 on the other. The one I think could go the distance would be Pacers Knicks, because I do think we are still going to get Pacers Knicks in the East. Out west, I would be inclined to go under, because if the Nuggets survive the Thunder, I don't think they have the legs for another series. And if the Thunder win, I don't think the Timberwolves are good. I think the Timberwolves are here because they played a Laker team that did not have a center, and they played a Warriors team without Steph. They haven't been tested. So I don't think they're actually good. And so I think Oklahoma City's a lot better than they are. And I think they're going to have more legs than the Nuggets if they play them. So, yeah, I'm thinking short series in the West. More potential for a long series in the East.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. I'd go under for the West, and I would go over for the East. And Pacers Knicks, they played a 7-gamer last year. It was a classic series.
Yes, great
I think
series.
that'll go 7 again. And I do think the Knicks will beat the Celtics.
We will step aside for another break. When we come back, we're talking local sports with the great Rick Peterson on the Local Sports Spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk by the incomparable Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, covering all things local sports here in the capital city, Shawnee County High School sports and Washburn University athletics. Again, you can check them out at TopSports.news. A must read as we come down the stretch of this high school sports season. We are approaching, in fact, the first of our state tournaments as boys state tennis gets underway tomorrow. And let's go ahead and start there, Pistol. Who are you keeping an eye on for state tennis from the area? We had a lot of qualifiers across all of the classes this year.
Qualifiers, almost all the schools will be represented at state, which is always good. Caraparavel, which is kind of just getting started in the tennis business. Drew Fay was her first state qualifier a couple years ago. He's back for his third trip, and now he's going to play doubles with the team that and him and his partner are 20-1 on the season. So, and it's going to be right here. 3A, 1A is going to be right at Costover. The rest of our schools are on the road. We don't have that necessarily that Tommy Hunter, type player that you just count on going to win state. But we got a bunch of kids that I think will be in the hunt for state medals.
Yeah, the rural boys won their regional in Class 6A and had the doubles champions in their regional. They also won the city. They also won the Centennial League. And obviously that should set them on a pretty good course to try and make some noise at the 6A state tournament, you would think.
Yes, I think, like I said, I think several of those, rural could get doubles. Willingham and Deucer should get a medal. I think they will get a medal, and just depends on how far they can go. The others, I think, are Keegan Knudsen and is right in the hunt for a singles medal, and then Topeka High, Trace Lester it was the city champ and Centennial League runner-up. I think he's going to get a medal in his first year of high school tennis.
Talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. This is the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Pistol, as we continue to look around the prep sports scene, I want to get to baseball. Hayden Wildcats 20-0. They've, of course, secured their number one seed in their regional, with baseball regionals are coming up. I had the date in front of me and I lost it, but they're coming up. You can trust me on that. Regional baseball, May 19th through the 22nd. Also been a great year out at Shawnee Heights. They won the United Kansas Conference League Championship. Tremendous accomplishment for them. Took home a series sweep of Seaman. Good baseball being played in the capital city. That's not new. Obviously, Hayden's coming off of a state title, and there's great tradition at lots of schools. But, boy, this year, Bill Arnold's got himself quite a squad running the table like they have so far.
Yeah, and they got a huge doubleheader today to play in Washburn Rural. And that's a very, very good twin bill. So you can't fault them saying they're kind of easing into postseason. They're ending their regular season with a great doubleheader. And I think they got a really good chance. It was 3A last year. I think they got a good chance of winning the second straight this year in 4A.
How about over on the softball diamond? Who have been the teams to watch throughout the season over there as we get close to regional softball, same time as regional baseball?
Hayden's been maybe a little bit of surprise and had a very good year. Seaman, always good again. Shawnee Heights, always good again. Topeka Highs had a little bit up and down, but they've got a winning record. West has had a good year, lost some lately to the really, really good teams in the UKC. And then Rural's always good and good again. Silver Lake, always good and good again. This area is a softball area, so it's more of a surprise when teams aren't in the hunt for state berths.
Rick Peterson, our guest. This is the local sports spotlight on 580 Sports Talk. Over to girls swimming. Last Friday was the city championships. Washburn Rural taking home the team city title with Seaman finishing in second place. And your counterpart over at TopSports.news, Todd Fertig, wrote a great story about Kaylee Gregg, the senior out of Hayden, who won the diving and the 50-yard freestyle. That's pretty rare to win a diving event and a swimming event in the same meet. Even rarer considering that Kaylee Gregg doesn't go to swimming practice. What a story that is.
Yeah. And was named a KU cheerleader on the same day. So, yeah, there was all kinds of angles to that story. But, yeah, you love to see that kind of thing. You know, it's kind of like comparable to Ryan Miller, who's known for being, the state's best miler, and goes out and runs the 400 in a school record time and a city meet record time. So that's kind of what Kaylee's got, running the 50-yard and then diving.
Yeah, you brought up Ryan Miller, and I did want to get into track as well, because the city track championships were last Friday too. Washburn Rural swept the meet. You mentioned Ryan Miller, who's saying, "Yeah, I'll dabble in this 400, see how it goes," and set the city meet record in an event that she's probably not going to run again in her high school career. But Washburn Rural, they've had a really nice season on the track, and it's come from a lot of different places, a lot of different events. They've got a lot of depth, and that's usually a sign of a team that can do some damage once state rolls around in Wichita.
Yeah, they do have a ton of depth, and then they got there. You got to have depth, and then you got to have your front runners. Isaiah Terry's one of their front runners. Their mile relay, or 4x400 if you prefer, is a defending state champion. Isaiah Terry's got a chance to win the open 400. They got great distance people, as they always do. So they're going to nickel and dime you on points. They're actually, the Centennial League teams are at their league meet today, as are the UKC teams.
We've also got regional golf coming up. Before we speak next, regional golf will be the 19th and the 20th. Who are the golfers to watch in the area as we get ready for regional boys golf?
Hayden's got a really good team. Washburn Rural always has a really good team, and they're good again. Those are the top ones. Care Paravel, who their guys played the regular season for Topeka High, but now they'll split off and go to I think it's 2A, 1A regional. They finished second in their league a couple days ago. They're going to be good. So we'll have several state qualifiers. Silver Lake's really good in golf. Jack Donovan's one of the best in the state for Rossville. So we'll be well represented at state.
Rick Peterson is our guest. He covers all of our local teams here in Topeka and Shawnee County for TopSports.news. That is where you can find all of his great work. And he joins us every Thursday at this time as well for the local sports spotlight on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. How about the Washburn tennis team, Pistol? The men's tennis team in particular, back to the NCAA national event. They have had an incredible year, led by Tim Hamas. What a standout for that Ichabod program.
Yeah, and they're just, and he's not the only one. That's the thing. Again, you got to have your studs, and they got their studs, but they're just, they win a lot of, they sweep a lot of matches just because they're good from top to bottom. And I think this is this the third straight year, I believe, that they're going to the nationals. And I think they got a chance. I don't, I'll be honest with you, I don't see a lot of these other teams, but I know Washburn's good.
The Washburn baseball team saw its season come to an end, unfortunately, in heartbreaking fashion this past week against Northwest Missouri State in a wild game down at the MIAA tournament in Joplin. But what a run through the MIAA tournament to get to that point, including Topeka's own Cooper Carlgren. He was phenomenal in a major upset win for the Ichabods over Pittsburgh State. Cooper obviously was a tremendous high school athlete in multiple sports. He's really settled in as a heck of a pitcher for Harley Douglas's group.
Yeah, no, and that was probably the best game of his career. And they beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, and that was great performance. And he's just a very good keep you in the game type pitcher. And that heartbreaking loss you mentioned was. They had a bunch of those this year. They just, they put themselves right in position, and they got better at pulling out those close ones late in the year, but just couldn't quite get that one that would have put them in the final.
Pretty cool news today, Pistol, for Washburn as a whole. The MIAA Commissioner's Cup final standings were released. And while Washburn did not win the Commissioner's Cup this year, how about a second-place finish, only behind Pittsburgh State, which has now won it 4 years in a row. But really impressive for Washburn. And look, I mean, you look around the athletic department, pretty obvious, right? I mean, the men's basketball team, we know how good they were. Tennis is back to nationals again. Women's soccer was fantastic again. Women's tennis had a great year as well. Not a surprise. They finished almost at the very tippy top of the Commissioner's Cup.
Yes, and that just all that does is, I think that would help on the recruiting trail. When you go out and say, hey, we not only have great facilities, probably the nation's best indoor facility for a Division II. But here's our success on the. I was also very impressed with the turnaround of Laura Westling's women's basketball team, and so just pretty much across the board, football's going to be back quickly, and it's like 3 or 4 years ago they were in the national tournament. So I think across the board they like where they're at.
One last quick thought regarding Washburn stuff, Pistol. Have you heard any news, good and, well, hopefully only good, about the current renovations going on at Lee Arena?
Well, I was just over there the other day for something else, and it's not ready to be played on yet, Brendan. but they're moving. They're moving. I mean, they're moving. There was a ton of workers when I was over there, and it looks really bad right now, from an aesthetics thing, but I guess you got to look bad before you can look good, and that's where they're at now.
That's a fact. That is that's been my mantra. Anybody ask me, why do you look so bad? Well, I got to look bad before I can look good.
Some of us just always look bad.
Some of us never stop looking bad. Rick Peterson covers Shawnee County High School sports in the Washburn Ichabods for TopSports.news. You can check that out every day, TopSports.news. You can check him out Thursdays on 580 Sports Talk for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, it's always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. And we'll take a break, and we'll come back to wrap up the hour. 580 Sports Talk right after this. Our thanks again to Rick Peterson for joining us for the local sports spotlight. Getting to be about that time of year. Got high school graduations coming up.
College graduations coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Washburn, KU, I assume K-State this weekend as well.
Man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how fast it went for the students, for the parents of those students.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, man, time flies. So congratulations to all those graduating seniors and the parents of all those graduating seniors as well. Got a shout out to them as well. But, yeah, we're getting close to the end of another high school athletic season.
Man, goes by quickly, doesn't it?
Always flies. It really and truly does. Thanks again to Rick Peterson for joining us from TopSports.news. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of the program, we're going to talk some Royals baseball. The Royals lost last night. They lost last night's game on Monday. We'll discuss what I mean by that. Also talk about some continuing struggles for the Royals cleanup hitter and for the Royals at large with runners in scoring position, just unable to put up that big crooked number that could deliver them a comfortable victory instead of having to sweat games out and depend on their bullpen, which gave way a little bit the last 2 nights in a series loss in Houston. We'll also talk more about the Chiefs' schedule, take a look at the toughest portions of the schedule, and some other thoughts on that as well, plus another round of What Is Wrong With You. Right now, though, I'm looking for caller number 4 to 785-272-9429. That's caller number 4 to 785-272-9429. Why do I want caller number 4, 785-272-9429? Because I want to send you to see Alabama live in concert featuring Lee Greenwood at the Azure Amphitheater in Bonner Springs on May 23rd. Pair of tickets to the 4th caller, 785-272-9429. And we'll be back with more 580 Sports Talk at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Dan, Brendan, Spencer here with you with 2 more hours of show today. We're on until 6 here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on Facebook at WIBW News. Thanks for being with us. No baseball tonight. Royals have an off night, so got the customary 3 hours. Royals back in action tomorrow night at Kauffman Stadium, starting a 3-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Champions weekend. The 85 and the 15 champs being honored this weekend at the K.
That's pretty cool.
40th anniversary and a 10th anniversary happening all at once. They can pair those up forever, which is kind of a neat deal.
That is pretty neat.
That they can have the 50th and the 20th in 10 years and bring guys back.
Yeah, I mean, why not win the World Series this year too? So you can just stack another one.
No, I like that idea. Maybe Bud Black can make it for the on behalf of the 85 team. He's not busy anymore.
Yeah, he'll be available.
He's unemployed. He's not working presently. So yeah, maybe he can come out and get a nice hand from the Blue Faithful at the K. But that'll be a fun weekend. We'll talk more about all of that coming up on tomorrow's show. But got some more immediate Royals baseball to talk about. In particular, last night's game, their 4-3 loss to the Houston Astros as the Astros take the rubber game of that series and salvage a season series split. Royals and Astros finished 3-3 against each other this year. As the Royals pitching faltered in the 8th, Royals had leads of 2-0 and 3-1, could not hold either, and Houston scored twice in the 8th off of Michael Lorenzen and Carlos Estevez to win the game. Royals with that loss dropped to 25-20, dropped to 4.5 games behind Detroit, who won again yesterday in the American League Central. And as of right now, only half a game ahead, I should say, of 4th place because Minnesota won again today. That's 11 in a row for the Twins. And they're just half a game behind the Royals in the Central standings.
Yeah, they're on fire.
Remarkable.
Our buddy Christopher on YouTube in the comment section mentioned earlier, beginning to kind of hate the Twins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had some injuries today, though. Buxton and Correa collided going for a pop-up. Both had to leave the game. So that'll bear monitoring moving forward. I mean, look, you kind of bake in if you've got Carlos Correa or Byron Buxton on your team that you're going to be without him for some kind of stretch. But both had to leave the game today due to injury. The Twins won anyway. They'd already built the lead before that. But that'll bear watching certainly for the Twins. We'll also talk more about the Kansas City Chiefs schedule. It was unveiled in full last night. Talked about a little bit at the top of the show, but we'll get into it more later on. Want to hear from you. Home games you're most excited for? Any game that you're most excited for on the Chiefs schedule? What you anticipate the record will be now that you've seen the schedule? I always joke about this. I'm sure I've made this exact same joke every year the day after the schedules are revealed on 580 Sports Talk since I've been on the show. It does not matter what team you root for. Mm-hmm. You get your schedule and you eyeball it, and you will be able to talk yourself, and no matter who you root for, you will be able to talk yourself into, I think we can get to double digit. I feel like 11 wins at least with this schedule. Like, no matter who you root for the bummiest team in the league. You'd be a Browns fan this morning, and you could say, if we protect our home field, we've got a stretch here. Yeah. We can pick up a couple of wins, and maybe not 11 wins if you're the Browns or the Titans or one of the league's bottom feeders. But like, you can do it. And people do it every year. And it's a lot easier to do it when you have a verifiably good team as the Chiefs do. Mm-hmm. So I want to know from you Chiefs fans out there, how many wins have you talked yourself into just seeing the games on paper now? Just knowing not only the who the Chiefs are going to play, because we've known that since all the games in Week 18 win final. I want to know how you feel about the schedule, the when and the where and the what TV channel, and how many wins you've talked yourself into with the Chiefs. Text to the show, 785-272-9429. You can jump in the live chat as well on our YouTube channel. That is 580 Sports Talk, the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Astros 4, Royals 3 last night. And I was saying it earlier, Wednesday, you could lose a game a couple of nights before you actually play it. And that was the case last night for the Royals. They lost that game because of what happened on Monday. If you recall Monday, the Royals led 7-0 after 3 innings and 7-0 into the 7th inning in game 1 of this series. It was the Astros that had to go deep into their bullpen. And in the 7th, Michael Wacha ran into trouble, gave up those 2 quick doubles, and it was 7-2. I think it was Schreiber had to come in the 7th, or did he have to come up and clean up Cruz's mess? Either way, he had to come in the ballgame,
right?
And pitch that night. But the Royals turned a 7-0 lead after 3 into a 7-5 game in the 8th, and it was I'm scrolling now. It was Schreiber who relieved Wacha, and he cleaned that mess up. They had a runner on first and 2 runs already in, and only 1 out. And Schreiber got the 2 outs. He struck out Altuve, struck out Walker, and then Steven Cruz came in and had his first bad outing as a Royal. Gave up his first earned runs of the season. The double, hit by pitch. 2-run single. There was the error on Waters in right field on the play, and Matt Quatraro went to Lucas Erceg to try and get out of the mess that inning, and Erceg got out of it, but because of a wild pitch, a ground out ended up scoring a run. So then it's 7-5, and then you need Estevez because it's a save situation in the 9th, and he comes in to pitch, and that's all well and good. Look, you deployed your bullpen in the order you needed to deploy it in to win that game, to make sure that you didn't lose a game where you once held a 7-0 lead. But you still had to use those guys. And so last night, the 8th inning comes around, and look, Michael Lorenzen deserves a lot of credit. He was excellent for the bulk of last night, and he was efficient for most of last night. It is remarkable in today's baseball to have pitched 7 1/3 innings and thrown only 84 pitches. That was the case for Michael Lorenzen last night. He was super efficient, and he was outstanding. And he had a 1-run lead going into the 8th inning. And my argument is always, don't push your luck with your number 5 starter, because he's your number 5 starter for a reason, right? It's not like Lorenzen had been overpowering. Only 6 swings and misses against him. So when the Astros were swinging, they were putting the ball into play. And it's a 1-run game. But John Schreiber had worked 3 straight days. Lucas Erceg had worked back-to-back days.
But he only pitched 20 pitches.
That's still, it's not just the 20 pitches, Spencer. It's the you got to get them up in the bullpen. They're getting hot in the bullpen. Yeah. So even with like Schreiber threw 3 pitches in one of those games. I think it was last night. He threw 3 pitches, but still, it's not just 3 pitches.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but my point was, it's not like he had pitched over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Like, I could see if he pitched Saturday, didn't pitch Sunday, pitched Monday and Tuesday, and then boom, Wednesday you want him off.
Yeah, you don't like to work guys 3 straight days if you don't have to, especially guys that you know.
Well, I think you had to last night. Could have.
It wasn't obviously a have to for Matt Quatraro because he went with Carlos Estevez in the 8th inning. So I'm not upset with the how he chose to go light on his guys. You can't run your guys out there 3 straight days, particularly a guy like Erceg who's max effort.
Right.
You can't do it in
there's no Brian Shaw in this bullpen.
No, you can't do it in mid-May. Like Schreiber's probably the closest thing, and even he now is much more a max effort looking guy these days.
Yeah.
But with Erceg in particular, I am okay with looking at the calendar and saying I can't do 3 straight days of Lucas Erceg now. I can't do it in mid-May.
You know, it'd be a different thing like if we were in September or the playoffs. Like, look, you're up by 1 and it's the 8th inning and your season's on the line, or you're trying to go ahead 3-2 or whatever. Lucas Erceg, get your ass out there.
Yes.
Like, you're pitching, bro.
Yeah, 3 straight days, go do it.
But yeah, you're exactly right. I think it's a matter of the counter. You can't have if a guy's getting blown up at the end of October, or okay, you're about to get 6 months off or 5 months off, whatever. Like, we can live with that.
Yeah,
now you can't blow a guy up this early.
You've got to be a little bit smarter with how you deploy your guys. And even in the case of Steven Cruz, we have a text from 785, asking why is Cruz not foot moved in the circle of trust? Was he not available last night? He'd pitched 4 of the last 6.
Yep.
And so maybe you're trying to take it a little bit easy on Cruz. Now, you got to have somebody available, right? Like, you can't say, well, we've used all our guys, everybody's down. But if you were Matt Quatraro last night, these are your options going into the 8th inning. Assuming your options from the right side were not all that appealing. If you felt like, okay, Steven Cruz worked 4 of the last 6, he wasn't real good on Monday, we want to put him back out there, particularly in the middle of an inning after his last outing was what it was. Maybe you could have argued for Taylor Clark, who's been fine since he got called up, but hasn't worked in high leverage. That would be his first high leverage spot of the season. I think Joe makes a good point in the YouTube comments. Why not give someone a clean inning to work on? That's where I'm at. If you were going to go to Estevez, because they've asked Estevez to get multiple outs. They had him get 6 outs in that extra inning, went over Detroit back in April. If you're going to go to him, just go to him to start the inning. Go to him to start the inning, because then you know what you can do is, okay, let's say he gets 3 clean outs. And I don't think he was bad. He gave up the go-ahead single to Jeremy Pena. That was an 0-2 pitch, up and in on the hands. I'm not sure how Pena hit it. That was self-defense.
Yep.
And he clubbed it into left field. Like, that was a good pitch. Sometimes you throw a good pitch and you get a bad swing against it, and it's a bad result. And that's what happened to Estevez last night. But he gets Altuve to line out. Then he walked Paredes. He was pitching careful to Paredes, which was understandable, as hot as Paredes had been with homers on back-to-back days. And he went after Christian Walker and struck him out to end that inning. You start the 8th with Estevez. Let's say he works a clean inning. Let's say you've got that 3-2 lead. What if you go and you score in the 9th? Because you're probably not seeing Josh Hader in a non-save situation. Maybe you're seeing somebody else in that Astros bullpen. Push the lead out a little bit. Maybe you score 5 runs. It's not a save situation anymore. You run Stratton out there.
Mm-hmm.
But your hands were tied, because in this situation, your right-handed option, and why am I emphasizing right-handed options here? Because it's an all right-handed portion of the lineup. You don't maybe want to use Lynch against these right-handers, especially right-handers with good track records against lefties like Altuve, like Christian Walker, like Paredes.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly Angel Zerpa's not going anywhere within 1,000 feet of a high-leverage situation right now. You can argue that the roster management's not great with Zerpa right now. If they're not going to use him, if they're going to try to use him in spots where he can build his confidence back up, which is probably the right thing to do, use him in mop-up spots. You've already got a mop-up guy. You can't have a bunch of guys you don't trust to go get some pivotal outs. And right now they have 2. And maybe 3 if you consider Clark not in that particular trust tree either. So I would have, again, hindsight being 2020, and I have many fewer career managerial wins than Matt Quatraro. I understand why he handled it the way that he did, but I think I would have been even more aggressive with bringing Estevez into the game and not bringing Lorenzen in the spot where, again, there's a reason he is your number 5 starter. I know it was 7, 8, 9, but it's still the 3rd time guys are seeing him, and it wasn't as though he was completely overpowering guys. Different story if he's sitting on like 8 strikeouts and guys are just not on him at all. I think they pushed it. I think they felt like they had to. I understand why Quatraro felt like his hands were tied a little bit, but it ended up with a bad outcome. And again, maybe the outcome's not so bad if Pena gets tied in knots by that fastball on 0-2 and he rolls it to 3rd for an easy double play to win the inning. That could have happened, but or I guess not with a runner on 2nd, but you get the idea. It could have rolled out, and then you got 2 outs and the run doesn't score. You're still at that point in the tie game. I would have preferred to have seen a reliever in a clean inning, especially when they're not working in a familiar. Like Estevez is not a middle of the inning guy. It's not usually what he does. You hand him the clean 9th and you tell him to go do the job. You didn't have your fireman available last night. And again, I understand it. I'm defending Matt Quatraro here. I thought that there were not great options last night. I still think he could have made a better choice, but I understand why it ended up following the way that it did. And sometimes a hitter takes the ball that's going to hit him in the face and tomahawks it to left field for the go-ahead hit. Sometimes, man, how was Drew Waters playing? Did he think he was still the center fielder?
Maybe.
Why was he playing so far off the line for Dubon? I did not understand that.
There is, and I know baseball fields are big. I hope I don't sound really stupid here. I probably will, so I'm just going to get you ready for it. You know how in Little League, it's like, hey, the big fat kid's coming up. Get back.
Yeah.
Timmy, get back. It's like, oh, here comes Dworzinski. Everybody in.
No batter.
Like, couldn't the bench coach, like, get up on the side of the dugout and throw?
Yeah.
Throw!
I don't know.
Wave him. Like, is that stupid of me to say?
Like, positioning is different in every ballpark, and the gap certainly is much larger than the corner in left field at Daikin Park.
Don't even get me started on Old Navy.
So
that was so dumb.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
really bad.
Really
Really bad, Spencer.
I'm Brendan.
What?
Yeah, Spencer, what the hell?
I don't know, man. I don't know. A lot going on in my brain today. Clearly none of it good. Anyway.
No, I thought that was great.
No, the positioning is going to be different based on the ball. Like, you probably do want to guard the lines at Kauffman Stadium to protect against the extra base hit, where at Daikin Park, you're thinking, okay, if there's going to be an extra base hit that's going to tie this game, we don't want Dubon to get to third. He's got a little speed. We got to cover the gaps more so than we got to be worried about the lines. And then Dubon hits a dinky fly ball that, if it's not that situation and that positioning, that is a routine out. And unfortunately, it was not. Christopher points out that it was just bad luck in the YouTube comments, and I think that's exactly correct. So, yeah, just one of those where I don't know that it's necessarily anybody's fault. Lorenzen pitched well. Again, another really nice outing from your number 5, but bullpen was a little bit short. And even with the off day coming today, you don't want to overextend. You can't overextend your best guys in May. You just can't do it. Because then, okay, maybe you got beat Wednesday because of what happened on Monday, but you don't want to lose games in August and September because you've burned the flame down to a nub. You burned a candle down to a nub on Urseg or Schreiber or guys who are going to be really, really important to your success long term. Like, you got to find a way to make it shake. And like I said, I understand it. For me, Estevez is the guy you bring in, not mid-inning. Even if he was your best option at that point, and he was, I don't love bringing him in mid-inning because that's just not something you ask him to do.
Yep.
Like, that's Schreiber you ask to do that. Shoot, Zerpa was never going to come in that spot, but he's more familiar pitching in that sort of situation than a guy like Estevez is.
Yeah, it's like it or not, and I don't know if it was always like this, but pitching is so specialized now. Even with the death of the loogie these days, relief pitching is so specialized.
I miss the loogies.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to Mike Myers.
No, I lost my train of thought almost.
Joe Beimel, where have you gone?
I'm back on. All right, back on the train. You still have guys who just are only comfortable in certain spots. I believe, whether it's, the right analytical or like the modern school of thought, there are guys who are comfortable being a ninth inning pitcher. That they're not a relief pitcher, they are a closer. To be more specific, there are guys who are like that, and I don't know that Estevez is. I need to pitch the ninth inning. Craig Kimbrell was like that. Craig Kimbrell could never pitch in the eighth, but you put him in the ninth, great. Well, at least until the last couple of years. But like his heyday, you need 3 outs in the ninth inning, I got you. You need 3 outs in the eighth inning, we're not winning anymore. Like that's kind of what Craig Kimbrell's career was like. Some guys are just like that. You need to be, you've got to play to those specific needs a little bit better, in my opinion. But in the grand scheme of things, if you hadn't had to burn through all your dudes on Monday in a game that should have been a laugher, you're not in that situation yesterday. So, I mean, there was only so much that Quatrero was left able to do because of the meltdown the other day. So what can you do? It's May.
Another thing,
all right.
Another thing you point to is a reason why the Royals don't win this game. They go 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They had their opportunity against the rookie Colton Gordon, 9 base runners in 4 1/3 innings, but they can only push 3 of them across. They had the bases loaded with 2 outs in the second inning. Vinny Pasquantino grounds out. They have first and second with 2 outs in the third inning. Hunter Renfroe flies out. They score the run in the 5th after the Garcia double. Canna and Massey come up behind them with a runner in scoring position. They both make outs. The Royals as a team this year after last night are hitting 228 with a 291 on base and a 317 slug with runners in scoring position. If that seems terrible, it is. And the Royals are not like thumping the ball as a whole, but still their season batting line, they're hitting 242 as a team with a 300 on base and a 360 slug. So they're way off of their team pace with runners on base. And they're also, this is even more crucial, way off the league's pace, because the league is hitting 250 with a 330 on base and a 399 slug with runners in scoring position. Now, there's a longer discussion to be had about should you be better as a team hitting with runners in scoring position. I would always argue that a pitcher pitching out of the stretch, and more pitchers these days work out of the stretch by default than used to be the case. Used to be you had a windup or you worked out of the stretch. But pitching out of the stretch can sometimes diminish your stuff. You're not getting the full range of motion into your motion. You've got to worry about base runners. You can't, maybe throw your nastiest breaking ball because you're afraid you might spike it and the runner might get a base. Like, pitching with runners on base is harder than pitching with the bases empty. Ergo, you would think that teams would have more success. And the league is hitting better with runners on or runners in scoring position than they are with nobody on base. The Royals are an exception to this. They are hitting worse with runners in scoring position than they are with runner in total than they are in the big picture. And the other thing that jumps out about their performance with runners on base, the Royals still have the fewest home runs in the league. They've 29 home runs now in 45 games. 23 of those home runs have been with nobody on base. 23 solos. Only 6 home runs that have scored multiple runs with one swing of the bat. That is still the surest way to put a crooked number on the board with runners on base, hit ball over fence. And the Royals are worse at it than any other team. Now, some of this is small sample size. You would imagine that the numbers for runners in scoring position would come back to a level, the established offensive level of the team, because the reverse happened last year. Remember, for about 4.5 months, the Royals were white hot with runners in scoring position. They were batting close to 300, if not over 300, for the better part of last year with runners in scoring position. And then water found its level. And it felt like the last month and a half, and certainly injuries played a role in this, but they couldn't buy the hit. They could not figure out a way to drive in that runner with runners in scoring position. So I think that number should get better, but it's the biggest reason why this offense feels so frustrating right now is they have not been able to build the big inning, put that 3 or 4 spot up on the board that puts pressure on the other team, particularly given how well the Royals have pitched to date. They just have lacked that crooked number inning.
So we had a comment here from Joe in the YouTube live comments that said, this outfield minus Kyle Isbell can be hard to watch at times. They're not good in the corners fielding. The corners are rough. We can be pretty confident in saying that. So that led me to the thought in my head, and I felt this for a while. Even though Luis Robert has been bad at the plate this year, I haven't checked what his most recent batting line is. I know he has not had a good season. He was batting 182 as of the other day. He is currently slashing 190, 296, 321. So he has absolutely no pop. He is walking a little bit, though. That's nice. And he also leads the majors in steals. So he's getting to second pretty much every time he's on. That's nice. And he's got a great glove. I would be totally happy with the Royals making a trade for a reclamation project there. Like, I don't know if he's ever going to get back to when he got MVP votes a couple years ago, and even last year he had a down offensive year. I would call and see what it would take to get Luis Robert. I really would. And that led me to think, Kyle Isbell's got a good glove. Let's check in on how the math likes Kyle Isbell, how the advanced analytics are feeling about Kyle Isbell these days. Well, I am proud to report to you, and by proud I mean miserable. Kyle Isbell ranks dead last of every single major league batter in expected on-base average. That's like on-base percentage, but doubles way more than singles and walks are the same, triples way more, etc. He's dead last in expected WOBA. Mm-hmm. He is dead last in sweet spot percentage, like actually making contact with the right part of the bat, dead last. Yep. He is dead last in walk rate. He is walking under 2% of the time. Salvador Perez in the late 2010s wishes he walked that little. That is astounding. He's been in the league for approaching 4.5 years. He has 100 career walks. He's been an everyday player for multiple seasons.
Good news is he's been perfectly cromulent as a defender. He's
a truly elite defender.
Three outs above average defensively. He's one of the best center fielders in the American League.
With one of the best arms in the league, too.
Yeah.
Like, if he was an average hitter, and the production has been there. Like, that's the thing. He's batting .272 this year. That's not a bad number. Slugging .427, that's not a bad number for your 9-hole hitter. The problem is these underlying metrics lead you to believe a cliff is coming, and he is going to fall off it like a lemming at some point.
What if I told you there was a corner outfielder the Royals could go get from a team falling out of contention? What if I told you that corner outfielder was OPSing close to 900?
What?
What if I told you they were going to be available pretty soon?
Okay, I was going to guess you were trying to lead me to Mike Trout, but I
No,
don't think you're leading me there.
I'm not leading you to Mike Trout. No.
Falling out of contention, league?
What if I told you Ryan O'Hearn? What if I threw that out there?
That's got to be one of those, like, we're okay cutting our losses, I think. Like,
look, the Orioles have more corner outfielders and some prospects that they know what to do with. Like they got a guy, Kobe Mayo. They've got to get at bats.
Yeah,
like
they keep sending him up. And they bringing him up, sending them down. And everybody's mad about it.
They got to play him. You know where they could play him? They could DH him. You know the regular DH is right now, who's played some right field? Ryan O'Hearn. Come back home. Ryan O'Hearn's career OPS plus as a Royal, 83. 17% worse than league average. In 3 years as an Oriole, 125. He just missed the data revolution in Kansas City. He went to Baltimore, became a masher. He fits, man. Like that's the call I'd make if I'm JJ Piccolo. Honest to goodness, I'd see what it would cost me to go get O'Hearn.
Yeah, he is absolutely crushing the ball. His baseball savant page is blood red. I mean, he hard hit, hitting it in the right spot, walking plenty, not striking out a whole lot, and actually, even better, he is a perfect fit for the Royals. He is among the worst base runners in baseball.
Well, he's got 9 career steals, all of them coming in an Orioles uniform.
That's crazy.
Which is kind of funny. Yeah. 5 seasons with the Royals, never stole a base.
I don't know what his contract looks like.
God, we dumped on Ryan O'Hearn like every day.
Dude, he sucked.
On 580 Sports Talk from 2019 to 2022.
It was deserved.
We dumped all over Ryan O'Hearn every time he was in the lineup. And yeah, it wasn't like he didn't have it coming. And then he went to Baltimore and he learned how to hit.
So he is on a club option this year. He's a free agent next year.
Yeah, a rental.
Yeah, true rental.
I'd come up off a AA arm for Ryan O'Hearn. I'd do it right now. I'd do it right this second. Number 66, I believe, is still available.
His condition of approving it, well, I don't know if he can approve a trade or not, but I assume a condition is I need a real number. Yeah. I don't want a spring training number anymore.
JJ, call Mike. Mike Elias wants prospects. He wants more prospects.
I'm telling you, I feel good about this.
Can I interest you? We saw this name come up the other day. I don't know if it was on the show or we just talked about it in the office. Can I interest you in a former AL home run champion who's also a former Royal?
How old is he?
He is 33 years old.
Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler.
He can't play the field. Like, O'Hearn can fake it. Yeah. There's no faking it with Jorge Soler.
No, he is absolutely horrendous.
Now, you can't.
Genuinely awful.
Yeah, like, he would have to DH. And the Royals, their DH at bats are spoken for.
Yeah.
O'Hearn's a primary DH, but he could fake it in right field for a team dying for offense.
Yeah.
And then
can he do it in the K, though?
Yeah.
Those big cavern. I mean, you just say, hey, Kyle Isbell, we need to expand your range about 10%.
He's hitting 280. Like, he could do that in Kauffman Stadium.
Yeah.
Even if the balls don't leave the park, maybe he'll hit the fence. I'll take some doubles. I'll take any kind of power from this team.
Jorge Soler is in his 12th year in Major League Baseball. 24.4% of his career home runs came in one season. Literally half of his career wins above replacement came in one season.
Yeah. He's a 7 wins above replacement guy for his career. He's 3.5 WAR player for the 2019 Royals. As a primary DH.
Played every game, hit 48 home runs, struck out 178 times.
Got MVP votes that year.
He did.
About that. He's also been an all-star with the Marlins. Interesting career, Jorge Soler. Coming up on 200 career home runs.
World Series champion with the Cubs.
Don't think that's the target. I think Ryan O'Hearn makes a lot of sense. I really do. We'll flesh that out as we get closer to like real movement going on. But yeah, the Orioles lost again, man. It might be time. It might be time for Mike Elias to pick up the phones, start thinking about, okay, this year's a bust. We need to figure out how to salvage the rest of the time we've got where I don't have to pay Jackson Holiday and Adley Rutschman and Jordan Westberg any real money.
Is all that like?
Yeah, you can't. You wasted this year.
They're supposed to be in a place where they're winning for cheap.
Yes.
And maybe adding a veteran or two to bring them over the top. But that's not happening.
No, they need to reload.
They're not going to need to do a study on a team like that because they were projected so high and they just aren't performing.
The study is Mike Elias's brain.
That's true.
That's what they need.
Mike Elias needs fired.
We will take a break. We are overdue for What Is Wrong With You. That's coming next on 580 Sports Talk. What is Wrong With You on 580 Sports Talk is brought to you by State Farm Agent Ryan Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. If you've got questions or needs in either of those realms, call Mo, the show, 785-273-1572. Two new stories today to try and take down our champion from Monday who has persisted. Thank you for shooting yourself at Walmart. Gentleman who shot himself at a Walmart. It's a very self-explanatory story. I'll go first. We're going out to Fishers, Indiana, where police arrested an Indianapolis man after he allegedly dug up a grave and stole from it Monday evening. Late in the evening of May 12th, officers were conducting routine patrols near Oaklawn Memorial Gardens. Fishers, for the record, is an Indianapolis suburb. Officers said they saw a suspicious car in the area. While nobody was in the car, police said officers saw a shotgun and paraphernalia. I don't know what that means. While investigating the car, police said a man, later identified as 24-year-old Seth Davidson, showed up from the nearby wooded area, covered in dirt from head to toe, and told officers that was his car. Davidson allegedly told officers he worked at Oaklawn Memorial Gardens and had recently buried an urn that had a gold ring in it. According to police, Davidson said he couldn't stop thinking about the ring, so he decided to dig it up to pawn it. When he saw officers approaching his car, Davidson allegedly hid the ring behind a dumpster, later showing officers where he hid it, as well as showing them the grave that he dug up. Officers arrested Davidson. He's been charged with cemetery mischief.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a feels like a Tim Burton rated G
Yeah.
Disney movie. Cemetery mischief.
From the folks who brought you Hotel Transylvania.
One of my favorite horrorcore bands. They don't curse though.
By the way, you lived in Indiana for a while.
I did. I went to college in Indiana. Yes.
I know an individual or two from Fishers. And I have heard many, many stories from people I know who live or lived in Indiana about Fishers. If you were to say, name a city in Indiana where something like this would happen, Fishers would be in the top 2. I will just tell you that.
They got dough in Fishers.
Yeah.
I know that much. The one guy I knew from Fishers, he works in the Brewers front office now.
Interesting.
Yeah, he played baseball at DePaul and now works in the Brewers front office.
How about that?
Like the assistant GM too. He's pretty high up.
Wow.
Anyway, they got some dough in Fishers, and they got some dudes who dig up graves. Man, he gave up all the info immediately too. You can tell sometimes people know that what they're doing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This guy knew what he was doing was wrong. He thought maybe if he was discreet enough about it, he could get down there. It's just an urn. He figured he's not disturbing any, like, it's not a body, it's not bones, it's an urn. Maybe he felt like that was a moral gray area. I'm just gonna get this ring and make a little scratch. And I know it's wrong, but I think I can get away with it. And then when he found out that there was no getting away with it, he gave up the details immediately. Charged with cemetery mischief, criminal trespass, and theft. Wow. Spencer, your story.
Yes, I will keep this PG a little more than is in the story. Slidell, we're going to go to Slidell, Louisiana. Slidell police responded to a call at a Lowe's parking lot on Sunday evening and reportedly found a naked man inside a display shed engaged in lewd behavior.
Oh.
According to police, the call came in around 5 p.m. on May 11th. A witness reported a naked man inside one of the store's outdoor tool sheds, which are typically used to show customers various storage options for the purchase. Officers arrived on scene and began searching the line of sheds on display. It wasn't until the fourth or fifth shed that they located the suspect lying on his back, pants around his ankles, using an open container of Vaseline electronic device while
improving home improvement.
Yes. With taser drawn, police say the officer ordered the man to pull up his pants and roll on his stomach to be handcuffed. Police say the man complied without resistance. The man reportedly admitted to his actions, telling officers he was just watching YouTube at the time. He was arrested on one count of obscenity and booked into jail. The man is not from Slidell, according to police, who did not release his name.
He just wanted some peace and quiet to enjoy his tube videos.
Oh, he was watching the tube, all right. I believe that.
Well,
a colored one.
The current slogan is, this is 2 days in a row we've had a red tube reference on this program. We have to calm down. The current slogan for Lowe's is "Do it right for less. Start at Lowe's." That's not what they meant.
Nope.
Not what they meant.
Yeah, no. This guy should have picked another place to be his hub for this activity.
All right, room, a closed door that he owns.
So we got our grave digger, and we've got how low can you go? How lows can you go with our?
Man, this is a good one today.
Yeah, good battle.
This is a good one.
I'm gonna go with the grave robber because you have to be a little bit like something's got to be wrong with you if you're like walking into a display shed. Segment?
Yeah,
what is wrong with you?
Yes, I feel like both of these, like, you got to be kind of like have a few screws loose in the head.
Yeah, but the whole point is you're not supposed to answer the question. Like, if you could answer the question, what is wrong with you? Like, hey, man, what's wrong with you? Oh, you're like diagnosed. You have like significant like
mental illness.
Sometimes the tie goes to when you can't answer that question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm driving at?
I'm going to get, I assume you're voting for how lows can you go here?
Yeah.
I will give the tiebreaker to uniqueness. We definitely get more pleasuring yourself stories than we do grave robbing stories. So I'm going to go with the grave robber for the sake of uniqueness. But I'm going to keep our weekly winner in place.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm outvoted. So I was going to go with before you die, you see the ring as our winner. But I've been outvoted.
Me
That's
talking
okay.
to my Xbox.
Thank you for shooting yourself at Walmart continues. A Cinderella run all the way to Friday.
It
Our
really
What is
is.
Wrong with You champion. Sponsored by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. We're back after this with some more Chiefs schedule talk on 580 Sports Talk. .449 here on 580 Sports Talk. Talked about at the top of the show, Kansas City Chiefs schedule, along with the rest of the NFL schedule, released officially last night. 7 primetime games for the Chiefs, more than any other team in the league. I thought there was an interesting article today at The Ringer, and I'm gonna hold it for tomorrow because I want to have a broader discussion about it. The idea of Chiefs fatigue. I think it's a very real thing, judging by people I know who are not Chiefs fans. And again, my experience is growing up where I grew up. I know not just non-Chiefs fans. I know some haters. I know who the haters are. I see them in my timeline. I know the haters. Maybe it's a little less for you guys coming from where you're coming from. You don't have that like rivalry with the Chiefs that you grew up around. But I think Chiefs fatigue is a very real phenomenon. And the NFL is going to push the boundaries of that with 7 primetime games this year for the Chiefs. Again, they are the season opener Friday night against the Chargers on YouTube. Week 3 at the Giants for Sunday Night Football. Week 5, Monday Night Football at Jacksonville. Week 6 at home against Detroit. Week 8, Monday night at home against the Commanders. And Week 14 at home against the Texans. And then, of course, Christmas night against the Broncos. Do you think any of those get flexed out? Or do you think those, you think that's the, or do you think any of those games second half get flexed in? Can they do that? I think you're limited.
The last 2 out of the last 3 weeks, I think, or at least I know last week is not scheduled out yet.
Right. So
you could get the Sunday night game.
They could end up Saturday night or, if that game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Sunday night unless it's like the game that decides the AFC West.
The only game that
would be a very surprising outcome.
Unless they have changed the rules, which they may have, and maybe I missed it. The only game in the back half of the season, that week 10 bye is so nice. You can split it up so evenly.
Yeah.
The only game that can be flexed into prime time is the first Bronco game. Because to be moved into the primetime window, you have to already be in the afternoon window. You can't go from noon to 7. You can only go from 3 to 7 or 7 to 3.
So those noon games are stuck at noon. I like that. I like noon kickoffs.
Yeah, I think, now don't quote me on this, but I think that like the Charger game on December 14th, I think they might be able to move that to the afternoon, like move it from noon to 3:25.
Yeah.
I think that's the case. Again, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I believe that is the case. But other than that, like Chiefs Titans ain't going anywhere unless Cam Ward is that dude immediately.
Yeah, and then people want to watch the Ward Mahomes matchup.
Right.
Which, great for the league.
Oh, it'd be awesome for the league. It'd be a lot of fun. I kind of doubt it. Again, that roster is bad.
And well, also looking at the schedule, what I noticed is the Chiefs get, I guess you would say, screwed by the schedule makers because they're not playing on Saturday the 20th for the Christmas game. The Commanders were I believe the only team that are playing on Christmas that have the 20th instead of the 21st.
I thought that was interesting too, that was the opportunity to give teams an extra day before a second Thursday game, because all of those teams that are playing on Christmas, that's their second Thursday night game of the year.
Right.
But there are a lot of teams that have 2 of those. Like, I was surprised how many have 2 Sunday, Thursday turnarounds. Now, not many have them in the second half of the season. The Chiefs are a little bit unique in that regard because they're week 12 to week 13 with the Thanksgiving game and week 16 to week 17 with the Christmas game. But yeah, I thought that was interesting as well, that only Washington gets the benefit of an extra day of rest going into those Christmas Day games. We'll take a quick break. We come back. We got a quick tidbit about K-State football to wrap up the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Fun little article at ESPN.com today. It's 100 days until the kickoff of the 2025 college football season. So in that spirit, there are top storylines, games, and predictions for the 2025 season from the ESPN staff. One of the top 10 lists, 10 potential first-time college football playoff teams. 4 of them are Big 12 teams: Iowa State, BYU, K-State, and Texas Tech. Here's what the author of the piece said about K-State. The Wildcats beat Iowa State in their season opener in Dublin, Ireland. They'll take the early lead has the Big 12's best playoff hope. The return of quarterback Avery Johnson is significant as the dual-threat player racked up 3,317 yards of offense and 32 touchdowns. Expectations are even higher in his second season as the starter. It's wild that week 0 is going to be so determinative for the trajectory of Kansas State's season.
Yep.
But it is. If they win that game, the sky is the limit. But that has been a game that has tripped them the last 2 years. That matchup in particular, they come out of Dublin empty-handed 0-1. It will feel a little bit like deja vu from the last 2 years where, yeah, they're good, but are they capable of getting over the hump against the upper crust of the Big 12? They'll have the rest of the season to prove otherwise,
right,
but it won't feel like it losing that game with that spotlight that early.
I would love for K-State to play Iowa State like September 27th. Because I feel like when that game becomes a bugaboo or any rivalry game for anyone, not just K-State versus Iowa State, like building up to that moment, building to that. We've got to get it done at that moment. Everything is kind of building to that. It'd be kind of nice if you could say, hey, this is a big game, but also we've got other big games coming up after it, which I thought at first, perfect opportunity for that to open the season. But then again, all those dudes who have been around from last year just spent their entire offseason building it up to the Iowa State game again. There's going to be a lot riding on that game, but I think there's a lot riding on it for Iowa State too.
No, I both teams, I think, will feel the same way about a loss. Like a win will feel like sky's the limit, and a loss will feel doubly devastating.
I'll call my shot now. Extremely fun game, horrible quality of football.
Yeah, that feels about right for week 0. We got headlines, more NFL schedule talk, and some final Royals thoughts. Final hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. If you're just joining us, welcome in. If you've been along for the ride, thanks for being here with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and streaming live on video, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page, WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis in with you for one more hour today. It's the Royals off day, so no baseball tonight. They're back in action tomorrow, opening a 3-game home series against the St. Louis Cardinals. It is rivalry week in Major League Baseball. Rivalry weekend. It's, I believe, the first of its kind, the first time they've intentionally scheduled rivalries. Yankees, Mets. A lot of them are interleague rivalries, like Cardinals, Royals.
Sure.
You've got Astros and Rangers starting tonight, actually. They're playing a 4-game series. So, yeah, rivalry weekend across Major League Baseball. And so,
I did not know that.
Well, now you do.
Now it makes sense why the Nats and Orioles are playing.
There you go. See, there's another one.
Cubs,
Nationals
White
and
Sox.
Orioles,
Yeah.
Cubs and White Sox this weekend. So you get the I-70 series this weekend. The Royals and the Cardinals will preview it on tomorrow's show. Want to hear from you as we go along in this final hour? Send us a text. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. You can also jump in the live chat if you are watching on YouTube. Again, the name of the channel today, 580 Sports Talk. That's the name of the channel every day. I don't know why I said the name of the channel today. We didn't change the channel name today. We're not changing it probably ever. It's 580 Sports Talk. Just go and watch us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and feel free to jump in with your thoughts as we go throughout the show. We've got NFL schedule reaction to get to, which we will get to in a little bit. Broader NFL related reaction to yesterday's schedule release. Also, a final Royals thought about the struggling Salvador Perez, who has been a bit of a drag on the lineup of late in a real disappointing way. But first, we got 580 Sports Talk headlines. So why don't we jump in to those? And we'll start with this headline from ESPN. Book: Caleb Williams sought way around going to the Chicago Bears.
This is nuts.
So I'm really looking forward now to reading this book. This is a great way to sell a book. Seth Wickersham has written a book called American Kings, a biography of the quarterback. Very ambitious project here, but I'm excited to see how Seth Wickersham pulls it off. Outstanding writer. He wrote the book about Belichick. It's Better Beard, which I think I did read that one, and it's a good one. Looking forward to this book about quarterbacks, and playing a big role in his book, Caleb Williams. And the reporting from the book, and reported by ESPN, is that Williams was so concerned about being picked by the Bears in 2024 that he and his family weighed circumventing the entire NFL draft, consulting with lawyers to figure out a way around the league's CBA, while considering signing with the United Football League. Carl Williams, Caleb's father, told Wickersham, quote, "Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die." And Williams is quoted in the book as wondering aloud to confidants, "Do I want to go there? I don't think I can do it with Waldron," referring to the former Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron.
Quick interjection. Hasn't said anything incorrect so far.
No, yeah.
Everything has been right.
All of these things are factual. Carl Williams went to great lengths to try and circumvent the NFL draft, Wickersham writes, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. Carl Williams was worried that with the franchise's history, stadium uncertainty, and offensive performances, Caleb Williams wouldn't have the organizational support to succeed. Looking for a way around the league's collective bargaining agreement, Carl Williams spoke with Archie Manning, who helped Eli Manning assert a measure of control over his eventual destination in 2004. He also met with labor lawyers and agents. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which could lock his son into the team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of lost market value income. The rookie cap is just unconstitutional, Carl Williams told Wickersham. Later at is, quote, "the worst piece of bleep I've ever read. It's the worst in sports history." Again, Carl Williams has yet to tell a lie here.
Yeah, maybe like in a theoretical sense, 8 years, 5th-year option, 3 tags. That would obviously never. If you put the 3rd tag on a quarterback, I don't think you could field the 53-man roster. Like, I don't think you could pay 53 players. But again, in principle, not wrong.
Yeah, no, everything he said so far is correct. Also, according to the book, he and his father, Caleb Williams and his father, were hopeful that they could arrange a trade to the Vikings because they hit it off with Kevin O'Connell at the NFL Combine. The Bears general manager, Ryan Poles, stood firm and told Williams, "We're drafting you no matter what." They considered the nuclear option, publicly attacking the Bears and the city of Chicago, similar to what Jack and John Elway had done with the Baltimore Colts in 1983, which, of course, worked for the Elways. But Caleb was concerned if they did try and the Bears refused to trade him, it would make a tough situation worse. In the end, Caleb Williams told Wickersham, "I wasn't ready to nuke the city," end quote. And after a pre-draft visit to the Bears facility, Williams believed he could be part of a process to turn the franchise around, telling his dad, quote, "I can do it for this team. I'm going to go to the Bears."
So I read this earlier today, and I came away with a few different thoughts. One, there's also a part in here where Caleb Williams talks about how his entire rookie season, there were just days when he would have to watch film alone.
He did his own film study.
Like Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron just wouldn't talk to him. Like, yeah, man, no kidding. They had no idea what they were doing offensively. What the hell is that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's already that. I came away from this. I already knew the Bears were incompetent. I've known that my entire life. The idea that they were like, it's not going to work if I have to be paired with Shane Waldron, and they still hired him is nuts. Carl Williams, again, not wrong in principle with really anything he said, although clearly way too much of a helicopter dad. Caleb Williams comes out of this looking the best. Like, I don't really want to do this. I wonder if there's a way I can better my situation. You know what? I don't think I want to rip this entire city I've never been to shreds. I'm going to make the best of it.
Yes, deciding in the end, like not loving a situation that you're in, but deciding in the end that the best thing to do is make the best of it. That is a very adult thing.
Mature, yeah.
Yeah, I come out of this. Look, I've been on the record. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a star. I think he is going to be an absolutely fabulous football player.
I'm a fan of his as well.
And I hate that he's a Bear. But, like, this franchise is why bad teams stay bad. And the Bears don't get lumped into the Browns, Lions, Jaguars discussion. Oh, they're one of the charter franchises. 1985, 9 world championships. They have as many world titles since the 1940s as the Lions do, man. Like, they've sucked for forever. It's been 40 years since that Super Bowl, and that's still all they have. Like, it's been a bad franchise. I'm not surprised that there were real talks about wanting to not go there, especially, again, with a dad who clearly is a little aggressive.
The other funny thing about this is, like, Bears fans are not gonna care because, again, what details there are wrong? What details there would be in dispute by Bears fans? They've never gotten it right with a quarterback in franchise history. Indisputable.
Yeah,
their coaching staff with Eberflus and Shane Waldron was bad. No disputing that.
I'll give you my dad's number. We can call him right now and say, "Hey, what do you think of Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron?"
It's like that bit, because I have a Simpsons reference for everything. It's like that bit in the episode where they have the hurricane and Kent Brockman says something to the effect of, "If you think naming a hurricane after a woman is sexist, you've never seen women grabbing for items at a clearance sale." And Marge Simpson is watching the news and goes, "That's true, but he shouldn't say it."
Yeah.
That's where Bears fans are going to fall on this. Like, that's true. All the things that Caleb and his dad said were true. They just maybe shouldn't have said them.
Yeah. I mean,
their butt's so mad.
I have heard this on a level as well from a famous dad of a Bears player that I know.
Yes, one Tyson Bagent.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't have to be coy. I think we all know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was like, well, it's an opportunity for him to get in the NFL. So, it was never something that he was going to go against because he was from D2 and everything. But It seemed like he was doing more of the power, taking more of the film and stuff in than you would necessarily see, like the leadership part of it.
Yeah.
Of the offense when he was a third string, second string QB.
Bad teams stay bad.
The new coach of the Bears, by the way, to put a bow on this one, Ben Johnson, was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd today and was asked about these comments and said, quote, "I don't know what's gone on prior to him joining the organization, but he is very proud to be a Chicago Bear. That's what our conversations have included. He's really excited to get to work right now and be the best version of himself for 2025.
I did not realize there had never been a 4,000-yard passer.
Nope. Their all-time leading passer, I believe, is it's not still Bobby Douglas, is it?
No, I think it's Cuddy.
Yeah, it's got to be Jay Cutler, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But for a long time, it was Bobby Douglas
and Sid Luckman.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are your. Yeah, it was actually Luckman. Douglas ranks a bit down the list.
Yeah, I got
Jim Harbaugh was third. Jim Harbaugh only played 89 games there.
Yeah.
And he was at one point the number 2 passer in Bears history. It's just it's a terrible.
Mitch Trubisky is fifth. Yes.
5th most passing yards ever.
Yeah.
I thought I had it bad. Like,
oh, brother. No.
My franchise was bad. I thought it. And then
Doug Williams, if he had played for the Bears, would have been made mayor. I'm not kidding.
There might be a statue of him.
Oh, without question. In the stadium.
Let's do some more headlines.
Like
Brendan.
at midfield. Mark Rippon would be God. Okay. I'm like not even kidding. I grew up around this stuff.
Yeah.
People hyped up Jim Miller when I was a kid, man. That's how bad it is for that team. Let's stick with the NFL for my next headline as well. The NFL put out a notice today about the 2028 Olympics, which, as we know, will be in Los Angeles. From the writing of Tom Pelissero, NFL owners will discuss a resolution at next week's league meeting that would allow, should it pass, NFL players to participate in the Olympics, which will include flag football for the first time. That is, what's the phrase for it? An exhibition sport in 2028. The resolution reads in part, I will not read you the entirety of it, but in part, whereas the membership is committed to supporting the growth of flag football, the membership believes that participation by NFL players during the Olympic Games will support such growth and advance several league interests, including increasing fan and public interest in the flag game. The Management Council is authorized to negotiate appropriate arrangements with the Players Association and other committees within the NFL to implement NFL player participation in 2028 Olympic flag football. So there's 2 schools of thought here. One, don't let these guys, guys who play college football or D2 or lower, let those guys play because that's going to make it more competitive. You're actually going to get a more level playing field. Other side, I want Patrick Mahomes to throw jump balls to Jamar Chase over a 5'8" cornerback from Luxembourg.
And look, they're already doing this in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
right?
They're playing flag football for, what's in gigs and at the Pro Bowl. But you do have a USA flag football team that competes on the global level. And by the way, they do fine. They win pretty routinely, and all of these guys played at a fairly high level of college and just happen to be flag football guys. Let the flag football guys have their shine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you got to be so offended if you're if you have spent the time and put in the work and competed and represented your country on the international level. You put on the red, white, and blue. You know what that's like. You know what that means. And flag football is going to be in the Olympics. And I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson has your roster spot now. Tough break.
I hear what you're saying. Counterpoint. If you were actually good, you'd play a sport with a helmet.
Texter from the 913 says, didn't the flag football quarterback, the national team, say he was better than Patrick Mahomes?
He did. And dude, you probably know the rule book of what's different between flag and the tackle game better than anybody. I do not doubt that. You're not Mahomes, bro. Pat'll learn. He'll figure it out.
He would.
This is an extreme version of the NBA players playing basketball at the Olympics. Oh man, team Lithuania. These guys have been together since they were 8 years old. They play every year. There's a couple NBA guys. Their teamwork is amazing. Oh, that's cool. Do they have LeBron and KD? Oh, I'm sorry. Do they have Steph? Oh, no.
Kevin Durant said basically exactly that Court of Gold show on Netflix.
Yeah.
It was one of they were interviewing Kevin Durant. He was one of the talking heads on the show. And he said, yeah, they talk about the camaraderie that those international teams have. How's that going to help you when you got to guard Steph? Like,
yes!
How does that help you?
Like, when Curry went nuts, it was the gold medal game when he was insane,
France,
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, that's awesome that Rudy Gobert and the other 4 guys on the floor all like share a baguette and le fromage together during the offseason. That's one of the 10 best players to ever play the game, bro.
Yeah.
Like there's only so many answers for talent.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Next headline, Spencer.
Yeah, we're going to go with some NFL minority ownership sales. Charles Woodson is buying 0.1% of the Browns.
Yeah, I love this.
I don't understand why it's 0.1%.
Does he own more of the Browns than you own of the Packers when this goes through?
Yes, he will. He will, in fact.
Just checking.
Yeah, that's 1/1000th. I own 1/330,000th.
Also, the sale to Woodson is contingent on him removing his name, image, and likeness from packaging of new bottles of wine and whiskey businesses he's involved in, so to not violate the league's alcohol policy.
Yeah. Willing to ditch the whiskey business for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. I would be doing more whiskey business if I was involved.
Yeah,
with the Browns.
Right.
He's also subject to the similar broadcasting rules as Tom Brady, for what that's worth.
Yeah,
because he does occasionally do color commentary.
Does he actually? I thought he only did studio. I didn't know he did color stuff.
Yeah, occasionally, not very, very rarely, but the Niners are selling 6% of their team. The franchise has been evaluated at $8.5 billion.
With a B.
Is more than the Commanders sold for.
Yes. So you can say, well, what? Wait, they're selling 6% for $8.5 billion? No, but the value of the 6% or 5.98, whatever it is, the value of that extrapolated over 100% would be $8.5 billion, which would be a record. Now we should note before we get to this final piece, Spencer, the Niners are selling that in 3 chunks to 3 Bay Area, California, just like wealthy families. But it's like local people involved in San Francisco, the Bay, the 49ers, etc. That's who they're selling to, which is a good segue into this final note.
Yes. The Chargers, downstate from them in California, plan to sell a minority stake to a private equity group. They already sold 27% to a private equity group last year.
I should put this in. I worded that poorly. I hung you out to dry. They sold 27% of the team to the guy who owns the Pistons.
Oh, actually. Yeah.
He bought a quarter of the team last year. You can only, this is a new NFL rule. This is brand new.
Yes.
That you can sell. Yeah.
Last summer they did.
Yes.
Up to 10% ownership in your team, you can sell to private equity.
So after this is done, the Chargers, the Spanos family will own about 61% of the team. And this, what's their name? Arctos Partners. They will own somewhere between like 5 and 10%.
They wanted to be partners of the situation.
Yes. This is bad. This is bad for everyone.
Also a potential sale note, the Portland Trailblazers in the NBA, they've been put up for sale.
Yes.
By the estate of Paul Allen, who also owns the Seattle Seahawks. So maybe in the next couple of years, the Seattle Seahawks go up for sale.
That his trust is so fast, and this is like real nerd stuff. I understand that, but the way that he wrote like his final, testament when he died was that it's his sister, right? Jody Allen.
Yes, Jody Allen.
So, yeah.
She is in control of the teams for now, but over a set amount of time, the teams he owned had to be sold, and all profits for it were going to go to charity, to charitable. What's the word I'm looking for? Not charitable. Philanthropic. Philanthropic endeavors, which is admirable for sure. That's got to be weird though. Like, I own this football team, except my brother 20 years ago said at some point you won't be allowed to own it anymore, and then I just have to get rid of it. That's probably kind of weird if you're Jody Allen.
Basically, yeah.
But like it sounds like the Seahawks won't be touched for a while.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, it's been rumored forever. I remember when this was what, 2 years ago now when the Commanders were being sold, and Bezos was out on the Commanders buying them. Everyone's like, well, he'll just buy the Seahawks whenever they become available, which whenever they become available is the biggest question.
For sure.
Final headline before we get to the playoff roundup from ESPN.com. Top stars have rocky PGA start after rare gaffes. So it was rainy and muddy at Quail Hollow today for round one of the second major of the year, the PGA Championship. World number one, Scotty Scheffler, reigning Masters champion Rory McIlroy, and defending PGA Championship winner Xander Schauffele were all playing together. Now, it's a big field at the PGA Championship, so they were shotgun starts. They started on 9, which meant their 7th hole of the day was the 16th. The 16th through the 18th are awfully punitive at Quail Hollow. They call it the Green Mile, the final 3 holes of the golf course. All 3 of those players made a double bogey on 16. They all made a 6.
Wow.
That was the start of a not very pleasant day for the reigning Masters champion, as Rory McIlroy finished today with a 3 over par 74, leaving him 8 shots off of the current lead. Scotty Scheffler recovered to shoot a 2 under 69. He is 3 shots back. As for Schauffele, he finished today a 1 over par 72. The current leaders, American Ryan Gerard and Aussie Cam Davis, are both 5 under after shooting 66s today at the first round of the PGA Championship. A group at 4 under includes Luke Donald, Ryan Fox, Alex Smalley, and Steven Yeager. Aaron Rye also 4 under through 16 as play continues to round out the day. A large group at 3 under includes, and you would have known this if you'd listened to golf knower Brendan Dworzinski yesterday, Keegan Bradley and Tyrrell Hatton very much in the hunt.
I did see that Tyrrell Hatton got onto the green in 2 on a par 5 today and was still so mad that he threw his club.
Yeah, that's the Tyrrell Hatton experience.
Yeah.
Very angry little man. Also, former major champions Matt Fitzpatrick and Colin Morikawa in that group at 3 under. Morikawa still on the course, has 1 hole to play. Group at 2 under includes Scheffler, as well as former major champion Adam Scott. Tom Kim and Victor Hovland are both 2 under as well. John Rahm is 1 under, along with Tommy Fleetwood, Tony Finau, and a big old group of others.
Where he be now?
Tony Finau, he be 1 under. That's where he be now. Tough day for Gary Woodland. He's 4 over through 15, but among the players who have had a similar or worse day to G-Dub include 4-time major champ Brooks Koepka, who was a 4 over today. Also, Jordan Spieth is 4 over through 17. Justin Rose is 4 over through 14. Dustin Johnson is 7 over through 17, former major champion, world number 1. Phil Mickelson shot an 8 over 79 today. So tough conditions at Quail Hollow for day 1 of the PGA Championship. And I mentioned yesterday, I haven't had a lot of who-dat winners of majors in recent years. Could be on track for one this year. Gerard and Davis, your co-leaders through 18 holes. Let's get to the playoff roundup.
Sounds good.
I think so, too.
It's time. I blame the automation.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
We need to alter the way that we
One of
play
these
this.
days, we're going to get into it clean. It's going to sound so good.
It's the automation system was frozen.
Good craftsman never blames their tools.
Hey, you heard it click, and then my double clicked it back.
We'll start in the NHL last night. Feels like the same old Maple Leafs. They were humiliated on their home ice by the Florida Panthers in a pivotal Game 5 in their Eastern Conference semifinal. 6-1 was the final score. Panthers lead that series 3-2, heading back to Miami for Game 6. Meanwhile, it's all a wrap between the Oilers and the Golden Knights. Kasperi Kapanen's overtime winner is a series winner. Edmonton beats Vegas 1-0 in OT last night. The Oilers win that series 4-1 and advance to the Western Conference Finals for a second straight year. Tonight, the Capitals and Jets both face elimination on home ice. Washington down to Carolina 3-1. Winnipeg down to Dallas 3-1. Spencer, you going to be more hockey after tonight?
I hope so. It's home ice. I'm hoping they've changed up some lines, moved some things around, and I'm hoping.
Over in the NBA last night, the Celtics played with some pride. They should make a movie about that. Be a catchy phrase. They should make a movie about it.
Yeah.
And they should put Dan Aykroyd in it for some reason. The Celtics played with some pride last night. They did not have Jason Tatum, but they an ensemble cast effort on their home floor kept their season alive as they routed the New York Knicks in Boston. That series is now 3-2 in New York's favor. Meanwhile, Minnesota eliminated Golden State. They have won that series in 5 games, and the Timberwolves have advanced to their second consecutive Western Conference Finals. Tonight, the Thunder will try and join the T-Wolves in that series. Denver facing elimination at home in Game 6 of what has been an entertaining Western Conference semifinal. I am hopeful that there will be more basketball after tonight. I think Denver can win. Home floor, they're champs. They've played. Effort has not been the issue. It's been ball will not go in basket and fatigue in the fourth quarter of the last 2 games. If ball goes in basket tonight, they'll force a Game 7. I firmly believe. And this kind of feels like a spot Oklahoma City, too. Like they would be okay with having a Game 7 at home.
Sure.
So I do. Denver will play with desperation, I believe, and find a way to keep that series alive. Here's hoping. We'll take a break, come back, talk a little more NFL schedule. We got some Royals thoughts to get to. Another half hour of the show left here on 580 Sports Talk. High 34 on 580 Sports Talk. I saw this on social media. Somebody I know a little bit on social media posted this to Blue Sky. You familiar with the NFL Throwback YouTube account?
I am indeed. Great account.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of old school footage of NFL games. They got like cut ups. Every now and again they'll put up like a forgotten great NFL game, and it's like 17 minutes of highlights from a Marino, Montana showdown you completely forgot about because it was a regular season game or something like that. They do. They got some really cool stuff on the NFL Throwback YouTube account. Today, in honor of the end of Derek Carr's career, in case you missed that bit of news from over the weekend, Derek Carr hanging it up after 11 seasons in the NFL. NFL Throwback has posted a video, 1 hour of Derek Carr's best plays. The actual runtime of the video is 58 minutes and 11 seconds.
That's the funny part, I think, about it.
So,
couldn't actually get to an hour.
Get to 60 minutes.
Couldn't actually get to an hour. Look, I started thinking about this. How many athletes that you have loved, like dearly loved? Because I'm not going to say that there's there aren't folks out there who Derek Carr is their guy. Like if you're a certain age and you're a Raiders fan and you remember that 2016 campaign really fondly because he was going to win the MVP before he got hurt and that Raider team was really good, like Derek Carr might be your guy. Maybe you went to Fresno State and Derek Carr's your guy.
You are Devontae Adams.
Yeah, maybe you're literally Devontae Adams. Like, I'm not going to, like, Derek Carr has fans. I'm not going to sit here and say nobody likes Derek Carr. Certainly people like Derek Carr. An hour of Derek Carr highlights? Derek Carr, for whatever words you might have used to describe him throughout his career, you know what word I would never have used to describe Derek Carr at any point? Spectacular. And if I'm going to watch a highlight reel, 1 hour of highlights of a player, I better see spectacular. So I better be able to come up with like, oh, I know what's going to be on here. And again, maybe the Derek Carr stands out there like, oh man, that one time he threw a touchdown to Hunter Renfrow. He was on the run. He was falling down and he threw the ball to the corner and Renfrow caught it for a touchdown. I'm making that up. I do not know what the Derek Carr signature like moment is. I don't. That time they beat the Chiefs when they got like 4 cracks at the game-winning play because of all the penalties?
Either that one or the Gruden victory lap game.
Okay.
That's what I got for you. So here's the thing. Derek Carr, I sound like Fulton there for a second.
You did.
Derek Carr, in his career, played in 1 playoff game. Now, if you want to say that's not fair, he got hurt in 2016 when they went 12-3 before he went out. You know what? Fine. He would have been guaranteed, when healthy, at least a second playoff game. That's 11 years. In the regular season, his career win-loss record ends 15 games under 500. There's not an hour's worth of good football to watch from that.
No.
I'm just telling you right now.
Unless like it's the full broadcast clip with like all the highlights and stuff.
Yeah, you've got Aikman
Like
breaking it down for
motion
3 minutes.
replays.
Yeah.
It's not like rapid fire. Like, would I watch an hour of the best of Patrick Mahomes? Hell yes. Without hesitation.
Yeah.
I would watch an hour of Mahomes highlights. Like I was trying to think of that. How many athletes that I have truly enjoyed would I watch 1 hour of highlights? And it's such a small list of guys where I could sit in front of a TV and it's just nothing but them doing stuff for an hour. Because eventually it runs out of steam, right? Even your favorite players, like at some point it just gets to be, oh, that was a nice catch for like a 12-yard gain and a first down.
Yeah, I think there's a
in a
tier,
game that didn't mean anything.
Yeah, there's a tier for me. There's like guys I'd watch for an hour, guys I'd watch for half an hour. Like, okay, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, he's obviously at the end, but Aaron Rodgers, like those dudes. Julio, I'd watch an hour of Julio Jones, actually. I would watch an hour of him. Like, okay, an hour of those guys for sure. There's more than enough. I'd watch half an hour of Jordy Nelson highlights.
I want to admit I recently did this for something.
Did you watch the Alexander Ovechkin every goal of his career montage?
Yes.
That's fine. Like,
but I had to even break it up.
But
like,
yes,
because it's the like not that he is, because I vehemently disagree with what somebody said about a month and a half ago about him being a one-trick pony. It's just his goals.
He scored some of the greatest goals in NHL history. That one where he's flat on his back and sliding around the goalie.
Most of them, they're power play goals.
Sure.
From one of the circles.
But still.
And eventually that gets...
But still.
You see the same highlight enough times, right?
Yes.
No, I hear you.
But that doesn't include like hits or like funny things he did on the ice or stuff like that.
A great
like goal
pass.
celebrations, great pass.
Yeah.
Like great hits.
But you could easily do an hour of Ovechkin.
Oh, yeah.
Like, easily. Like I could do an hour of Nikola Jokic. I could probably do 2 hours of Nikola Jokic.
But also a lot of it too is like remembering when that happened.
Yes.
Like I remember watching, what was I doing during this game? I was at that game.
Yeah, that particular one-timer for Ovechkin was a crucial one in game 2 of a conference final series.
It's not though. The ones that they were regular season.
Oh, well, I'm saying if there was an hour, right? If it was the best of and it was an hour, like you get that. Like what context do you get Derek Carr highlights from that's like, oh man, I remember this game. I remember this game meant something. This was you run out of those with Derek Carr because they didn't win any meaningful games. He played one playoff game in his career.
Yeah, the 3 winning seasons in 11 years as a full-time starter the entire time. He never came off the bench single time in his career. Yeah, man, there's really nothing. Like, Derek Carr was fine. Derek Carr was an above average talent at quarterback, but
Sure.
above average talent at quarterback does not make you like a Super Bowl contender. It just doesn't. There's another level to that.
I need to see spectacular plays and high stakes plays if I'm going to be satiated with an hour of highlights of a player. And
even for guys who don't win the big one, like again, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Yeah, they've got Josh Allen's had playoff moments.
Yes.
They unfortunately for him have come against the Chiefs.
Yes.
And lost.
They've the other guys big playoff moments.
Like, I watched the final 5 minutes in overtime of the 13 seconds game. I've watched that YouTube video a million times.
Sure.
Like, yeah, I'll watch that whenever. Derek Carr, the other thing too, he was just kind of boring. Like,
yeah,
he wasn't going to run.
Spectacular.
He had a good arm, but not a great arm.
Yeah, like what are like the scrambles for Derek Carr? Like, no, like could you watch an hour of say Russell Wilson? I think you could. I think you get to an hour of Russell Wilson. I might get tired after 45 minutes, but like you get to an hour with Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
But Derek Carr, an hour of Derek Carr highlights. That's insane to me.
It is insane.
Like, Excelsior to you if you watch a full hour of Derek Carr highlights. Maybe that's going to be, like, we have to do, like, some sort of wager amongst us, and the loser has to watch all 58 minutes and 11 seconds of the Derek Carr highlight reel.
Carr, obviously, more relevant to Raiders for so long. Who do you think has more career highlights? Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins?
Oh, man.
Kirko Chains.
I think Cousins is a better quarterback.
I do too.
But I think I'd actually almost argue it might be Carr.
No,
because everything Kirk Cousins does is, I said Carr is boring. By comparison, he's freaking Randall Cunningham compared to Kirk Cousins. The most boring good quarterback I've ever seen.
I'm going to throw this at you, though, because some of Kirk Cousins' highlights are Justin Jefferson highlights. So, like, you get some of that with Carr to Adams, like, later stage.
Yeah.
But, like, Kirk Cousins was at least throwing to, like, some big deal wide receivers. So you're getting some of that. That's a nice bonus with the Cousins
disrespect
stuff.
to Seth Roberts.
Yes. Who? That is precisely what that is.
Yeah.
Specifically.
He had, I think, 2 walk-off touchdowns in the same season one time. That's all you need to know about Seth Roberts.
Anyway, the thought experiment.
Like, really derailed what we were going to talk about.
How many athletes would you really watch an hour of highlights? Like, straight through. Like, I'm blocking out 58 minutes of my day. I'm taking an executive lunch, and I'm going to watch an hour of highlights of a player. Like, for me, I think it might just be Jokic. Russell Wilson, I suppose. Mahomes.
Mahomes, yeah.
Like,
you'd be one. Think you could get an hour to Kelsey? I don't know if you could.
If you're a diehard Chiefs fan, I think you could.
Yeah.
You're a diehard.
If you're a diehard Chiefs fan, you could just watch that Jamal Charles 5 touchdown game for an hour.
I might do an hour of Jamal Charles.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Like electrifying running backs, like an hour of Derrick Henry, an hour of CJ2K, and
yeah, I'll watch those.
We're getting close to an hour of Saquon Barkley being workable.
I will say during the summer months, we're probably getting close to this. I'll spend 3 hours a night watching dopest inside zone runs of all time montages set to some horrible music, but like, oh man, that Derrick Henry run was sick.
I watched a 13-minute video on YouTube once called MLB Worst Box.
I have seen that same video.
Me too.
I have watched that exact same video.
We did want to talk about the NFL schedule, so let me just ask this question. Let me throw this out there. Of the social media posts about schedules, which one was your favorite? Which one was the best executed?
I have an individual one in the Commanders game for their one against the Chiefs. They had Chiefsaholic in a prison.
They did. they picked up Chiefsaholic and they put him in the prison in Chiefs Kingdom on their little roller coaster tycoon video. That was a nice touch.
I like that they did Roller Coaster Tycoon. My favorite was the Falcons. They did theirs Mario Kart themed. I thought it was very funny. They also Jordan made an appearance.
Yes.
Bill Belichick's
We're not talking about this.
Yes, I thought that was very funny.
I like Brenda Song doing the Rams.
Yeah, that was solid.
She knows ball.
She does know ball.
I did enjoy the Chargers. Like, they're really good at it. I don't know. I've never played Minecraft in my life. That's
that was lost on me.
Yeah, any of that stuff is lost on me, but I did understand, because it has been something of a cultural phenomenon. Having Kyler Murray as the chicken jockey was very funny.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I saw a lot of people online laughing, like, "Oh, Kyler!" I was like, "I don't get this."
I did not like the Bills' dumb AI Allen Iverson.
Yeah, Josh Allen tells Brandon Beane, "Yeah, just use AI.
Mhm.
Everyone's doing it." And Brandon Beane calls Allen Iverson. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm glad it was only a minute and a half. If it had gone longer, it would have been rough.
The only thing that most people on the internet took away from that video was that Josh Allen's got a cannon, and I'm not talking about his arm. Congratulations to Haley Steinfeld.
I'm leaving that one alone.
I think that's for the best. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. Salvy's in a slump. We'll talk about it on 580 Sports Talk. No Royals baseball tonight. They're back in action tomorrow night, opening a 3-game home series with the St. Louis Cardinals. Boys in Blue dropped the rubber game of their series in Houston last night, 4-3. Another rough game at the plate for Salvador Perez. Since he returned to the lineup on May 4th after he missed a pair of games with that hip injury he suffered in Tampa Bay, Salvy hitting just a .75 with just 2 extra base hits, both doubles, and 15 strikeouts, like striking out 33% of the time. Still just sitting on 2 home runs. We're in mid-May, and Salvador Perez has just 2 home runs. Kyle Isbell, who, as we talked about in the 4 o'clock hour, does not hit the ball with authority, has more home runs than Salvador Perez. Now, we have seen the homers come in bunches from Salvy before, and so this is not a eulogy for Salvador Perez by any stretch of the imagination. It's just part of the frustration of watching this lineup right now is that 3 and 4 have struggled all year. And though Vinny Pasquantino's hitting an even 300 in the month of May, not having your cleanup guy going really hurts your chances of putting together those big innings that we talked about. And the team as a whole has struggled with runners in scoring positions. This isn't just one guy, but man, it was starting to look pretty good there late April when Salvy started to roll and he was hitting all those doubles. I mean, he had 4 doubles in the doubleheader against Colorado, and it looked like, okay, he's starting to drive the ball. He's hitting the ball to the gaps. The home runs are going to come. And can't really say whether the hip has bothered him or not. We know that Salvy plays through pain. He plays through injuries. Sometimes it is to his detriment, but he's always come through the other side. It's just that the Royals kind of need him to come through this with a little more haste than perhaps he is coming through it right now. I think Mark asked a fair question in the YouTube comments. Does Salvy need to catch a little more to stay engaged? I don't know that would hurt, honestly.
It would be a total reversal of what I have been saying for years.
What we've all been saying.
Like, no, DH him more so he can be healthier and he's not having that wear and tear.
But there are some guys who feel like half a ball player when they don't play the field.
I get it. No, I don't. And I think Mark's got a good point.
It's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, he's done it for so long. He's worked with these guys for a long time. The metrics don't like him, but I don't think Salvy's a bad catcher by any means, like positionally. So I'd be willing to try it.
I mean, the numbers are there since he's come back from his hip injury. He's hitting 182.
No, he's hitting 178. We have the numbers. We already read the numbers.
Yeah. David Lesky had him last night, but that was before his last at bat.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, but no, I mean, 170. Yeah, he's like if I was out there hitting. Well, not quite that bad, but and look, I mean, if you are just desperate to get Freddie Fermin out there, well, you have Freddie Fermin go play DH. Although, unfortunately, things are slowing down for the Freddie Fermin agenda. He had a couple of big hits over the last few weeks. OPS plus is sitting at 64.
Yeah,
and if you've forgotten, average in that stat is 100.
Yeah, he's actually been worse in May in terms of his OPS than he was in April when he wasn't particularly good either. Still some positive value defensively that Fermin is bringing you, but yeah, the bat has. Unfortunately, it's been a continuation of kind of what we saw from him in September, where he had a really nice year last season, but really, really tapered off in August and September. And unfortunately, that has continued here into 2025. Yeah, the Royals need Salvy to get going, and maybe this day off will be restorative for him and get back behind the plate this weekend, and a little home cooking will get that back going because the Royals need some production from the captain. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up the show with a final word right after this. Wrapping up and walking off this edition of 580 Sports Talk. We're done at 6. No overtime today because no Royals baseball today. So let's get out of here on a high note. Brendan Dworzinski, give me a final word.
I like this Chiefs schedule, all things considered. It's not like it's easy. The folks who put together the preseason strength of schedule numbers, The 49ers, by the way, have one of the easiest schedules ever, according to those sorts of things. So the Chiefs' schedule is not easy because a lot of the early season games are difficult on paper, but you get a lot of those out of the way early. You get a right smack dab in the middle of the season bye week in week 10. You have a stretch of 3 straight home games at one point. You get 9 home games overall, only 7 true continental U.S. road games, and then an international game to lead off the season. I think this shapes up pretty well for the Chiefs. Now, you still have to play. You still have to execute. You still need to have more talent. All of those things obviously understood. But in terms of, wanting to catch a break here or there, I think the Chiefs got a break with their schedule.
Give me a final word, Spencer Dupuis.
Yeah, speaking of the Chiefs schedule, I like it. I think I might have to make my Arrowhead debut on Monday, October 27th to catch the Spencer Dupuis Bowl as the Commanders come in for Monday Night Football. For the Chiefs, I mean, they're going to be, we knew the entire time that they were going to be one of the teams that was going to be promoted via primetime games, standalone games. But all in all, you look at the schedule, I think it is weird that they do have those 2 noon games at the back end of the season when the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but I think it's interesting with their Christmas Day game being the Prime Video Thursday night game. So, you look at that point, you always like to be there at the end of the year and be up in prime time.
Final word for me, we should expect some improvement from the Royals with runners in scoring position, if only because it's hard to be much worse than the Royals have been with runners in scoring position this year, batting just .228 as a team with a miserable .317 slugging percentage. Can't seem to find not just a big hit, but any kind of hit with runners in scoring position. But they've been a better offensive team than that overall, and water typically finds its level. You typically end up at the end of the year having runners in scoring position numbers that mirror your overall numbers. I think there's a little bit more ceiling for the Royals offense, so I think there will be improvement to their runners in scoring position numbers, and there'd be even more ceiling if they go trade for Ryan O'Hearn. I think they really should. We'll be back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan and Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.